This is the One Piece Podcast, episode 793 for the week of Monday, October 30th, 2023. My name is Zach.
And my name is Ed.
And my name is Alex.
And on today's episode, we have very special guest translator for One Piece and Weekly Shonen Jump and Manga Plus. We have Stephen Paul with us. How's it going, Stephen?
Hey, yeah, I just had a feeling that if I was not here to help you get through this chapter of manga, that it was going to be disaster. So here I am to save the day.
I have so many questions, which I'll ask later. We also have, joining us for the first time in a long while, we have our contributor Jill Knight with us. How's it going, Jill?
It's good. Good to be black. Good to be back.
Oh,
yeah.
Edit.
Good to be back. Good to be back, especially on this kind of a chapter. Happy to be talking about it with you guys.
Welcome back, Jill. How long has it been?
A woman never reveals her age.
Oh.
Happy birthday.
Thank you. I'm 31.
Don't want people to know that you're older than several months.
I wasn't asking your age, though.
Appeared.
I just meant, has it been 31 years since you've been here? Otherwise, I don't...
Feels like it.
Ed and I got to see Jill a couple months ago.
That's
oh,
true.
yeah, for the, yeah. Did you go to Disney together, too, or no?
No. We went to the orchestra, but I did not get to make it to Disney.
Oh, that's what it was. Right. And the orchestra, I forgot the One Piece part of that whole thing. And last but not least, we have comedian Abby Denton joining us once again.
Well, howdy, partners.
What's happened to you since last time you've been on, Abby?
I've been on some rootin' tootin' adventures, sure and bigora.
I think you have the wrong theme for today.
I do declare.
Oh, wow.
I got a case of the vapors.
I like that one.
Do you have...
I'm gonna make some gumbo, I guarantee.
We should take something for that. So, on today's show, we're going to go through the manga recap for chapter 1096. Super happy, by the way, to have you on again, Abby and Jill, returning guests. The episode chapter is called Kumachi. We also, I don't think we're doing our anime recap this week. If we have time, we'll do Piece Together, but given how things have been looking lately, I don't know if we're going to have time for anything. But before we get started, there's one piece of One Piece news. That was an accidental pun I made. The cover for volume 107 came out. Do any of you have strong opinions about the newest volume that's coming out in November, I think?
Cover's fine. I don't know. It's just very yellow forward. That makes sense.
I think it kind of sucks.
Yeah, I agree with Steven.
A pile of characters.
Not my favorite.
Yeah.
Luffy
The color
running.
scheme. When you say yellow forward, what do you mean?
There's a lot
Yeah,
of
I don't
yellow
know what
on
that
it.
means.
There's a lot of blondies.
Oh, well, yes, fair.
Yeah.
Yellow and blue, I think, are a good, it's primary colors, but the red is popping, whereas I feel like usually if you're going to go with primary colors, red will be the predominant color, and then they'll use yellow and blue for the accents. And here it's sort of an inversion of that, and I appreciate that. It's like a Gundam backing up.
A lot of blondies.
I just wish
Morgan's
it was
is
more
there.
dynamic, I guess.
Morgan's is
Yeah.
the one thing I like about this little
There's something about Kobe's expression, the combination of Kobe's expression and like the very wonky way he drew Prince Groose under him that, and this is, I realize that this is really, really harsh words, but it kind of looks like a fan drawn cover to me.
It depends the fan. It could be harsh
Yeah.
words, but it could be a really good fan designer.
Prince Groose looks a bit like Quato here.
Yeah.
I think that it
looks like he's coming out of Kobe's stomach. That's
oh yeah, it looks like from under his shirt.
yeah.
Oh, yeah.
The birth.
Or no, under his pants, even.
I wish
through his legs.
Garp's pose was better.
Yeah.
Or maybe we needed Garp
I don't know. I like how it
Garp's
makes
bigger.
makes Garp look childish. I like that actually. He's like,
Or maybe
I
it's
don't
like
mind
the revolutionary flag too. That's throwing me off.
Yeah, I agree with that. I can't comment on colors, but the individual elements are okay. They're just thrown together in a very haphazard way. I mean, barring Prince Groose, who you're right is wonky as hell. It feels just like very lazy. I think is also harsh words. Not to say that Oda hasn't had a lot on his plate recently.
The way that Garp is raising his fist right behind the Revolutionary Army flag, it's kind of like, when Bart was just walking in the street and it happened to be the gay pride parade and they took the picture of him.
That's what it looks like, yep. It looks like he's holding it. Looks like he's holding the flag.
Yeah.
What was the headline? I'm trying to remember. Revolutionaries show pride. That's what Garp's doing.
Write that one down.
I do think that like I know that like there's a requirement to have Luffy on every single one of these covers, but he's so out of place here. I feel like maybe it needs some sort of effect around him, or like I don't know. I don't know, man.
Like maybe the one for like, was it volume 53 where he's like jumping out of the page or something? Like it needs something like that.
The impel down one.
The impel down one.
Yes,
which I'm a fan of.
Yeah, that's a good one.
I agree with you, Alex.
Yeah, I think that I said this in Discord like a couple weeks ago when this was revealed, but
that was this week, I think,
or whenever it was revealed, or when the initial sketch was revealed. I miss covers that are like the Nolan Kagura one where like they're like reading a story and it's this is too literal, needs to be a little more
figurative.
Yeah. So I don't know.
So like
also I was kind of hoping Hibari would have blue hair.
Aww. I think Groose is actually the highlight of this cover because he's like with the hat and everything, he's already not wishing to use any profanity, a poop post of a design, so to speak.
Yeah.
And I think this is a very funny like doodle drawing. And I think that's actually like it keeps my attention as the funniest face here. I like that lady's tights. I've completely blanked on who the heck she is, but I like her tights.
That's Hibari.
Member of Sword, right?
Yes.
I mean, everyone here is a member of Sword except for some of the people. Actually, no, half. It's like half and half.
Cobras.
Yeah, it's just all
Maybe she
over
would
the
have made
place.
more of an impression if I'd seen her tights in color before.
I mean, the other thing is also like I'm comparing this. This is a volume of all non-Straw Hat material. So I'm thinking of like volume 25 and 45, I think it was, or 24, that are about the rest of the world, and they're done in much more creative ways than this is. This is like, this could be any cover of one. I don't know. I'm disappointed. We could talk about this for a while, but I don't want to.
I don't memorize the names of members of the world government because personally I'm on the side of freedom.
That's why we have you on, Abby.
Yep.
Yeah, you're gonna have a hard time this chapter then.
Actually, to be fair, mostly pirates.
Well, yeah.
Some exceptions. Any other thoughts on this? If not, I think. A couple podcast housekeeping, whatever announcements. First, please check out Steve and voice actress Tara Sand's new podcast on our network. It's called 4 Kids Flashback, and it's all interviews with voice actors and staff and engineers and producers and more and so on and so forth who worked at 4Kids during that period in the early aughts and talking about their stories. It's immensely interesting. There's a ton of episodes to come that will probably, change your perspective on things, and a lot of One Piece history is in there as well. So check that out and subscribe wherever you get your podcast for that. Also, we have our sister podcast, Shoujo Sunday. Check that out on newly into Maji Media as well. You can check out all our podcasts at maji.media or subscribe to us at patreon.com/One Piece Podcast if you're just interested in our podcast for some reason. With that out of the way, let's get into the show.
All right.
Thank you, Ed. This is the manga recap for chapter 1096, Kumachi. You can read this chapter and all chapters as soon as they come out at shonenjump.viz.com or mangaplus.shueisha.co.jp. Ed, what's going on the cover here?
Sure. This is a reader request for Zoro lamenting losing a game of musical chairs to Chihuahuas in the Woods by UCP, not UCB. But I recognized some of these Chihuahuas here. One of them is Carp, and one of them is definitely Roger, it looks like. With the scar and the hat and the mustache. But Zoro is he's just not having it. He can't believe it. He's hands on head, shocked at losing to a bunch of Chihuahuas.
Look at this party.
This party has like a turntable and DJ. Like what?
Yeah, it's a real game of musical chairs. Yeah. Ed. I don't know if you played a real game of musical. Are we sure that this is supposed to be, or you're just inferring? It's because the other Chihuahua has like a big scar. This is not important. I don't even know why I'm talking about it. But
Zoro's, he's freaking out because he broke his promise to Luffy after losing to Mihawk. Yeah. He's going to get kicked out of the crew.
As he should.
Turntables.
Yeah.
I do love to imagine the panel after he loses musical chairs where he says, "I must train harder."
He just starts weightlifting some more.
Yeah, this one actually made me crack up. It is funny that he would get lost on the way to the next chair.
This one would fit right in opening 12.
Yeah. What about the next really serious arc we have? We just have the opening only be about this cover page.
Was the slave flashback not serious enough for you?
No. This is serious business, Jill. Any other thoughts?
It's weird. I know Viz's translation of this arc. The version released in Florida actually just calls them helpers. So it's much more cheerful down there.
Wow. I just took me like.
And I just learned something about Florida just now. That's new info wow.
Do they really?
They don't actually have a separate translation of One Piece in Florida.
Oh no!
I apologize.
I know what you were talking.
No. I know what you were talking about too, but I could see that. Possible.
Yeah, they're putting it together for the school library.
They're putting. Don't read One Piece
never get
from your Florida. Oh God.
Oof.
Hey, Ed, what's happening?
Sure.
Thank you, Alex.
As the flashback continues, the people of God Valley they're all in tears. They're running. We hear, we've already introduced the 13 super rare rabbits. They're worth 10,000 points each. There are also 150 rare rabbits. One hit kills will earn you an excellence bonus. We have some very fine prizes indeed for the champion. So these are, I guess, some of the hunters are down here speaking, and you hear watch this, children, and from some random cool dude. But then there's this chick with a big hat and like the tongue sticking out, and she says that trophy will belong to the Manmayer family.
The cool dude is Garland, by the way. Sorry.
Is that? I can't tell without the hair.
Probably.
Then a fellow in a mask says, "You won't win this one, Garling." And then we get a picture of someone with a bob haircut and a big Tudor ruffle collar.
Little Lord Fauntleroy.
But the citizens of God Valley are begging for their lives. They say, "You can't do this. It's unconscionable. Wake me up from this nightmare. Human beings shouldn't treat other humans as toys." And then, so anyway,
in the corner of the panel, Don Flamingo's like,
so anyway, they started blasting. Not so fast, boys. Obey the rules. But already, the woman is clutching her dead child in her hands. So the announcements continue. Meanwhile, there are 200 World Noble Hunters. The hunt will begin in an hour. So, those they don't get points for that one. But back at Navy headquarters, you hear, "Why such a remote island?" And then, "I can't tell you, please." So that's Garp speaking. It's like, "Why such a remote island?" And he said, "I can't tell you, please, Garp, just go." That is Kong, the former fleet admiral.
No,
at the time.
Was he a fleet admiral?
No, he's commander-in-chief now.
He's commander-in-chief now. I just was wondering if he was fleet admiral.
Yeah.
Then. Okay, go ahead.
The One Piece wiki notes that he's sometimes incorrectly translated as the Pan Fleet Admiral, and I'm just happy that they're
Pan Fleet Admiral.
They've organized into such a large fighting unit.
I didn't realize that the world government also produced world music.
Okay, so Kong continues. We're not certain yet, but we can't afford to take chances. Garp says, this is Celestial Dragon's little field trip. Like, I warned you not to mess with OPLA, but who listens to me? That was treasure from Pirate Island. Of course they'll come to get it back. Who leaked that information? Hey, they got plenty of security, right? Why the fear? Well, the thing is, we didn't think Roger would get involved. Leave with that next time. I'm going.
Zenigata.
Roger said, my parents are out of town.
I'm on my way.
Yeah. Before we're going to try and discuss at the end of each page. So should we talk about these typo specific here, Steven, since we talked about it a little bit internally?
What typo?
The Garling thing.
Well, Garling is his name.
Garling or Garland?
Yes. Figurland Garling.
Oh, so the other one was I'm sorry. You see, even I got confused.
Mm-hmm. Did you say finger licking Garland?
We made that joke last.
Abby, I tried making that joke I tried to make that joke go over twice now. Third time's the charm.
I'm sorry to have failed you a third time.
Sorry, Steven, also. Seeing Kong, is this the second time we've seen him? I don't think we've seen him much since the war, right?
So is he like super old, or was he just blonde as a youth?
He's got like red hair,
He
right?
was a redhead.
Yeah,
he's a redhead.
Okay. Huh.
Yeah. How could you not know
Sounds
Kong's
grandpa.
hair color, Abby?
I want to point out.
As I say, I don't pay attention to members of the world government. I don't know who he is.
Just the faces
Like
on
weird
the
guys
faces
in
on the
fire.
citizens down here. This woman is clutching her dead child. It's it's
Well,
Yeah,
the announcer's
that
like,
one.
ha, ha, ha. You
scamps.
incorrigible blokes killing that child.
Oda's not a subtle man.
No.
Yeah,
He never claimed to
Not
be.
here.
No.
Abby.
I know writers who use landlubbers, and they're all cowards. On the next panel, we see that the pirate island with a big skull on it, but I don't think the skull is a man right now. I think it's just a big rock.
That's much later.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's not a guy, but we do get
As far as we know.
we get unaddressed speech bubbles from the pirate island full-led New World, where someone who I'm going to assume talks as if he's a giant island skull. I'm taking the liberty of giving him that voice. The Rocks pirates have already left, master. They got the jump on us. It's Halloween, so we're gonna do Halloween voices today, all right? We gotta catch up on the Rocks pirates who went to the God Valley. We gotta catch up. And then, just so that we know that this is an important plot, someone says, this is a huge deal in the pirating world.
I'm often saying this.
Big news.
This is a big deal in the pirating world. That's actually, I think my father used to comment that a lot at sports events and things. Someone would get a home run, he'd say, this is a huge deal in the pirating world. We grew up in Pittsburgh. Thank you very much.
I like that.
But then we go back to the God Valley, and someone's complaining the island's surrounded. I've never seen this many Navy ships before. Someone who we will on the next page realize is in fact Eva-chan. Says, of course, working himself up into a sweat. There's no escape. The reality of the atrocity itself will be erased from history. They've concocted this sick murder game to drive off the inhabitants of this island so they can take its resources. Would you believe that the 100,000 rabbits who live on this island will all be dead to the last man in just 3 weeks? Is this real life or is this hell? This is working people up into a huff. Eva's, standing up on a big stone plinth so everyone can hear this wonderful speech. And then we see the spaceman celestial dragons just slaughtering people all over the place. And one of these random guys with a literal target, literally painted on his back, says, "But if we can survive the next 3 weeks, we'll be free." And Eva's face gets all huge. And Eva yells, "Stop dreaming, you fool. The number of survivors of all these games combined is 0. Is 0 a number?
Now we're getting into it.
I skipped math class.
It's actually a
I don't
character
know.
in Final Fantasy 14.
And Mega Man. That's Mega Man's boyfriend. One of the other guys with presumably also with a target painted on his back. That's brand loyalty. He says, "Why would they tell us we could get freedom just to give us hope?" And Eva says, "Because it's the hope that makes us struggle and run. This is someone who will go on to lead the Revolutionary Army. We understand why. What's so fun about killing people who only fall to the ground in abject despair? Don't waste your time dreaming of salvation in this sick game. We have to escape the game itself."
Deep.
It's much like capitalism. And in the background, we see a cool, like, silhouette version of, is that Charlos?
It's any of them.
I don't pay attention to members of the government. Okay, they all have that hair?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, they do.
A lot of them do.
Never noticed that. Too distracted by the bubble helmet.
It's interesting
It's
how
a very cute shadow drawing.
It's interesting how some wear the bubble helmets and some don't. And wonder if there's reasoning. Also, they all have targets on their back. They have literal targets, the slaves. I'm sorry, helpers, for those listening in Florida. Anyway, Stephen.
And on the next page, we get more action scenes as we find out St. Garland already has 100,000 points. Is he going for the high-value rabbits, as we see Garling? Or is it his identical twin, Garland? I don't know. Boy, I sure hope somebody got fired for that typo blunder. And that person's name would be Eiichiro Oda.
Oh, twist.
Yep.
Could I ask, is that a supersonic duck-billed squadron member that he's riding
That's what I thought.
No, that's actually the head of the world government, Emu.
If you go back to the previous spread, you can see it's an ostrich.
Or
they're all
it's a
riding
chocobo.
like.
Or an emu.
I guess they are chocobos as well.
Thank
Garland is
you,
riding
Abby.
a chocobo.
Exactly.
for him.
Yeah. No, it is funny that
That's brand loyalty.
it is funny that that they made this typo, because it's not. I mean, it's kind of similar, but it's not necessarily that close. It's not like one character. But after the controversy with Jun Giant,
Oh yeah,
Jacob
jeez.
Heimer Schmidt. His
Yeah,
name was
that's
John
the-
Giant's name too. Yeah, we can never be sure. But yeah, I assume this will get fixed in the tankobon. And meanwhile, we see it's not really explained literally, but we can assume that we have this little transponder snail here that is this is like the closed circuit camera or something. It's broadcasting the action on the island back to the crowds back home in Mary Joa, and they are squealing with delight at Garling's exploits. Meanwhile, we see a scene of Ivankov. His I've been wondering what was in his hands in that one the panel where we finally see him standing on top of the rock on the previous set of pages, and I guess that makes sense. It's just his hands in the shackles, and there is a shark fishman here whose mighty jaws bite through the shackles, and Ivankov says, "Thanks for those mighty jaws, my shark fishman friend." And this guy says, "Thank you. No one's ever said that to me before," which is an interesting, just very small, microcosm here of how Eva rolls, basically. And we see Ginny here, who says she's sitting down in front of two transponder snails. She's got another one on her ear. And she's got some glasses on, and she's like, "The prizes for the event are the key to our escape." And this guy in the background says, "Prizes?" And she goes on to explain, "They've got one of the most powerful devil fruits in existence. It allows whoever eats it to transform into a mythical azure dragon. And also the pawpaw fruit, which turns you into grandpa. No, it allows the user to send others and themselves to distant islands. They're both here on God Valley. So interesting that Kaido's fruit is here, as well as the one that we know Kuma winds up with. And Ivankov, he's pumping his fist now. He's ready. If any of us can eat them, the dozens of us here can get past the Navy blockade and escape this hell. And this downer here in the corner says, no, we can't. The prizes are in the center of the island. But Ginny says, Ginny says, I'm a pro at thieving, tapping, and transmissions. 2 weeks ago, I managed to send a message about the island to the outside. Maybe someone heard it. Anyway, for our plane, we're going to need a decoy. So this is basically just proving that even in the One Piece world, hackers, they exist and they just have magical powers.
How can they hack without keyboards, though?
They have snails. That adorable snail up on her ear is.
She's a freaker. Sorry.
That's a better comparison.
Singing
into the telephone.
This is the part that totally made me think this is not Luffy's mom. Way too smart.
Right.
Dragon is technically Luffy's dad, as far as I know.
I mean, Dragon seems pretty smart, so we need a dumbass, right?
Speaking of people who are not in this chapter.
Have we really seen Dragon do anything smart? Maybe he just stands there while other people plan around
you know what?
him and he looks...
But Luffy's not dumb. He's just he just acts on instinct.
Mm-hmm. That's right.
I refuse to allow this statement to go past. Luffy is incredibly dumb. That's why he's the hero.
What?
If he was smart, he just farmed turnips. Stay out of trouble, not get killed.
Speaking of heroes, the call has gone out for a decoy, and these two guys here are rushing to sit on their hands and not volunteer. But instead, young Kuma does it. He says, "I'll do it," and he's already got a arrow stuck in his shoulder. Kuma, and he says, "I'm big and hardy, so I can survive longer than others, and I don't want to see anyone die anyway." Ginny is struck by this, and Ivankov says, "Yeehaw! Well said, Kuma. I won't let them kill you. Let's get off of God Valley together."
Yeehaw! Well said, Kuma.
Meanwhile,
my culture is not a costume. Bye, Cracky.
All right. Meanwhile, at sea, a Navy. Yeah, boom. Indeed, a Navy ship is exploded. And we hear, "What was that?" And a sailor says that it's the Rocks pirates east of the island. And we get a glimpse of the Jolly Roger. But why? It's not just them either. There are more ships coming. They're all infamous pirates. So we see the Rocks pirate ship leading a charge of a few others. Can't really read them, so it's hard for me to give specifics there. But probably other ships
Steven,
from Pirate Island.
Is that something you were able to?
I don't think that those are legible.
Yeah. Anyway, one of them looks like it says Drifters. Maybe not. Very interesting Jolly Roger on one of those.
There's the one that...
Does it have a long nose, or is that just...
No, it's a sword going through it, I think. Kind of like Zoro's. The other one,
anyway.
I don't know. Yeah, go
on. A Navy commander says, "Why didn't we hear about this? What do they want? Fire cannons!" So the cannons fire. And looks like they're to no avail. The Rocks pirate ship steamrolls these Navy ships totally completely, and we hear, "You waste your time, Navy. Follow me, Rocks pirates." So then we get a bit of a splash page here of the Rocks pirates. I guess Sans Rocks, who has led the charge. So we have here from right to left, at least in the foreground, if we start in the corner, the bottom right-hand corner, that there's Struisen.
Under the exclamation points. Sorry.
Yeah, remember him?
He's so cute.
Yikes.
He's the most like strawberry shortcake villain design. He's perfect.
This guy's a little
I've just been rereading Whole Cake Island, and he does this very cool thing, and it's just taken out for the entire arc. Like he just cuts the giant cake in half, and then he's done.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Justice for Struisen.
So
I think he's the secret sixth member of the Gorosei.
It wouldn't be called the Gorosei if there was a sixth member.
It'd be called the Roku.
Well, they had to rename it after he left. Yeah.
Oh, well, that's true.
So then we have Edward Newgate, aka Whitebeard, on his shoulder, Buckingham Stussy.
The original.
Right? The original,
Miss
the
Bucking.
OG.
Yeah.
Miss Buckin. And underneath her is Gloriosa, Boa Gloriosa, right? So that's aka Elder Neon. Next to her left is Gold Lion Shiki, whom we know from Strong World. Above Shiki is, of course, Charlotte Linlin, aka Big Mom. In back of her is Kaido. Underneath Kaido, next to Shiki, is Captain John.
That's right.
Whom we saw as a general zombie on Thriller Bark.
He likes his alcohol, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
Yes.
the bottle.
And in the back there, we can see a four-armed individual who is a general zombie as well, who at the time I believed to be a nod to Gil Bastar, a character from Wanted, the anthology, the one-shot anthology that Oda had published. In that story in particular, he's a gunfighter. But I think that at the time, like, there was speculation that it was sort of a nod to both gunfighters in that particular manga, Wild Joe and Gil, which is why there's four arms, all four arms, presumably from here carrying pistols as they did on Thriller Bark. Up in the right-hand corner, there's also a fella with claws jumping, who I believe is another general zombie. I think one of these pirates is Wang Ji, or
Could be, yeah.
Yeah, I think that's what we're calling him in the Viz translation, right?
Mm-hmm. So yeah.
And let's see here. That does it for that particular splash page. And in the right hand and over on the far right, we have a giant fella who appears to be a fishman of some sort, who I also believe is a general zombie.
I think he was, yeah.
Yeah, just wearing all sorts of paraphernalia, which is why, his face, I guess, was...
Did you mention the one with the claws? I forgot if...
I did, yeah.
Okay, sorry, I got lost in the...
Yeah. Oh, yeah, in front of the four-armed guy, there's another generic-looking pirate.
What are they all saying?
Yeah, so Newgate says, "Not so fast, Rox. Who said I was your follower, fool?" And Stussy says, "Oh, Newgate, not you too." Gloriosa says, "Don't be so pathetic, Stussy." And Stussy retorts, "Same to you, Gloriosa." Shiki says, "I assume it's finders keepers." Linlin says, "They'll be mine." Kaido says, to retort to her, "But you can't do anything with them, Linlin." Of course, referring to the fact that she already has devil fruit powers. And if you eat 2 devil fruits, they blow you up. Captain John's drinking liquor, and he goes, "That's my treasure."
For Shiki, are you doing the dub voice?
I guess it's. I was trying to figure. I forget what the dub voice was. He was a Jamaican, right?
Yeah, it was the Jamaican.
Yeah,
right?
I assume it's finders keepers.
Yeah,
I'm gonna do that.
Yeah.
There it is. I had to find it. So then, below the bottom of the page, we sort of have a little bit of a lineup. Newgate says, "I just knew that fool Rox will lose sight of the goal. We have to be certain first." And Shiki says, "Stop acting like you're the leader here. I'll blow them all up." Lin says, let's just steal what we're after and scram. All these dreamers with their head in the clouds. Or heads in the clouds, rather. Kaido, who, without his facial hair, just looks like a generic...
yeah,
like,
Luke.
He could be Dragon, he could be Roger, he could be Garp.
He's got a head
The
like
facial
a
hair... Yeah, the facial hair really makes these characters, look like what they're supposed to look like, I think. But Kaido says, I hear Roger's on the move. He's the last man I'll let... and we hear, calm down, kid.
That's Big Mom too, right?
Mm-hmm.
That's
Lin.
yeah. Stussy says, today's the final fight, I assume. John says that's the idea. Gloriosa proclaims that they will settle it once and for all. And then we have two panels of two unnamed Rocks pirates, one of which is wearing like a gladiator helmet, has a big long beard. Another General Zombie, this I think has been confirmed. And then we have a even more shadowy figure wearing a hat at the bottom, who I believe to be that four-armed individual.
Django.
It's not Django.
Oh my god, Django's backstory.
I could swear that's just Mihawk. It looks a lot like him.
But if you look at I'll post this in the chat. But if you take a look at Gil, from Wanted, the hat he wears a bowler, so it's a very similar kind of hat to the that General Zombie.
I guess you wouldn't bring in a young Mihawk and not give him a line.
Yeah. Also, I think Mihawk might be. I don't know. I don't think we've ever seen Mihawk smile except for like the one time he cut down Zoro. So, yeah.
He doesn't have the will of D in him.
No, I don't think that's Mihawk. Anyway,
I love these panels where you get like a big crew stepping off of a ship and doing their banter. Like I always get We Go playing in my head.
But Abby,
well, prepare to have it play again because when we move to the next page.
Wait, Abby, by the way, Mihawk is 43, so he would be 5 years old in this. Precocious Scamp. Him and Kuma.
You'd be fine. Yeah, you'd be great.
Kuma's, 9 here? I also want to mention, I love the Rocks Pirates Jolly Roger, the Flaming Skull.
Yeah.
It's simple. It was in the not volume 9. It was in that intermission in Wano when we get the whole God Valley Yellow Dog thing.
I wonder if the sort of designs coming off of the skull are supposed to be indicative of like Rox's design too, because they're kind of distinctive. That it's like it looks like there's a curling flame on the right side, but then like on the left there's also kind of just looks like a broken horn or something. I don't know. Some very distinct shapes there.
I also
what if
I was about to say I also love the I can never remember it, the front of the ship, like where people have mermaids and stuff.
The figurehead.
Yeah, straight up looks like he has a dead body tied there. It even has clothes.
Ooh. Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, I forgot to mention that. I love that too.
Enemy
Yeah,
captain.
Was that something the historical Blackbeard did? Am I remembering right?
That sounds right.
It sounds right.
I think we could say Rox and his pirate crew feel like the most piratey reasonable since they were in full lead.
Sure.
The interest that they all hate each other. There's not really a good code going on there. It's just
competing.
they're just out for their own specific interests, and it feels very true to life in a way.
I wanna...
Here's my Rocks theory: is that he has the body shape of approximately Ursula from The Little Mermaid, and his skull isn't actually a skull. That's his body shape. He's just got these little tentacles at the bottom.
Oh, I kind of hope so.
That's him. Yeah.
We need a character that is literally just their body shape is a skull. Is this the first confirmation that we've had that Neon was a Rocks pirate, or did we?
Yeah, I think this is the first time.
Okay,
right?
I don't remember if that was ever said.
I couldn't remember anything else.
Yeah. I think that was the first surprise, because the rest of this, I think almost everyone else has been revealed in some way or form or fashion in the past.
And it might imply that her, her love hurricane disease was related to Whitebeard, possibly. I don't know.
Maybe
that's kind of a guess, but I mean, she does seem to be competing with Stussy here over Newgate.
Let's be honest, Newgate is a looker. So at this point in his,
I mean, if anyone in this picture is a hero, it's he looks the part.
If anyone,
the bodice
Daddy Beard,
Daddy Beard. There you go.
There ought to be an S under there. Yeah. That chest.
Here's a question. We see a young Prometheus here on Lin Lin's arm.
Yeah.
Do we think that's the same Prometheus, or did he die and she recreated him occasionally?
You know, it looks a lot.
Be the same one.
I assume it's the same one. It looks a lot like the one from Mother Carmel.
Well, that one's Pandora.
Pandora, thank you.
I was actually reading that chapter earlier for reasons.
It's a good chapter.
Yeah.
Oh, he's got a little body.
I would give anything for the crew to need this flashback information, and Prometheus is just like, in the long distant past, I was there.
Prometheus is the grizzled old homie.
Steven just pointed out the little body underneath Prometheus, and now I cannot unsee it.
Oh my god.
Perfect.
That's great.
A great guy.
Old man
cargo
Prometheus.
Looks like he's wearing cargo shorts.
Yeah.
I hate it.
We're sure it's not just Dory or Broggy, guy with the helmet.
No, Dory and Broggy are fighting their fight on the little garden.
That was going on.
They're already there. Okay.
Yeah.
It was 100 years.
Yeah,
right?
they've been there for years.
They ignored all of the history of the world. That's great.
That's I think one of the fun parts about that. We go to the next page as someone proclaims, presumably from the Navy, that the Rocks pirates have made landfall on God Valley. The most cartoonishly evil looking celestial dragon says, "What is the Navy doing? If they lay a single finger on us, I swear I'll do something terrible." And then meanwhile, over a transponder sail, we got reporting in. Pirate crews are converging from all over. Their purpose here is unclear. Watch out on the western shore. Their purpose is to murder, which is the same purpose for you guys too. So I don't really know what the big deal here is. And someone asking, how did it get out? This was top secret. Are we assuming Ginny is part of the reasoning there?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, that would make sense.
Yeah. That aligns nicely. And here come the Roger Pirates. We have, oh God, I really should have researched this. The
Scopper Gabon.
Do we remember that's in the background?
Yeah.
On the right? I was going to go from
on the left.
No, I'm going from right to left.
Okay.
Who's the guy with the flaming hair? Do we know who that is?
That might be a new one.
Don't know.
Oh man, it's been a long enough now that since I did all the names for the sketches.
Yeah, I got
a SBS.
I feel like that person was there.
Yeah.
God, I know the rest of them definitely were there, and I just don't remember most of their names. But we have Rayleigh, obviously still looking young and suave, looking very similar to how he did in the Odin flashback, which is like 10 years after this, right? It's a while after this.
Oh, that guy's name is Yui.
Oh, thank you.
With the
do you have the rest
hair.
of them available, just in case?
I do, yeah.
Hero Yui.
We have Roger in the center without his trademark mustache, but with someone else's trademark straw hat.
Yeah, his.
Oh, right. No, at the time, I suppose. What's the big fishman guy's name?
That's Sunbell.
Sunbell. They all have ridiculous names. Where's Sunkissed? Isn't that one? Or is that
It's in the Hong Kong subs.
Oh, that's what I'm thinking of. Is that what I'm thinking of?
Yeah.
Yeah.
We have Scopper Gabon.
We got the guy who looks like he's from Asterix and Obelix.
That guy.
Yeah, that's just Halvar from Vicky the Viking.
Yeah, I was going to say.
Senshi from Dungeon Delicious. No, it's Millet Pine, my favorite, my second favorite member of the Roger Pirates.
Yeah, that's I love the design, and that's a great name. And what's the one with the ponytail again?
I believe that's Spencer.
Spencer.
Yeah.
What an awful name.
420 Land loves Spencer.
Yes,
I remember
that's right.
that.
I didn't
Really?
check to see if he was posting about it today.
Oh, we should check. I went to school with someone named Spencer, so I don't really think that's such a cool name.
I mean, it's a common name.
Exactly. That's why. Oh, and it's like the cat named Josh.
Yeah.
The assistant cat.
Yeah,
The assistant cat.
Tabby.
The assist tabby. And then we see the presumably the other holy knights. We have finger licking good is Shanks. Fourth
More
time.
like finger licking bad.
Yeah, that's what I said last time. That was my joke from last time. I'll kill you. Then says, pull back the sailors and have them guard the celestial dragons. The holy knights will handle this, even though we're in the fold of the page. And when this comes out in a volume, you'll never see us.
Nope.
Speaking of, my favorite one is the one in the middle with the cow skull.
Yeah.
That is such a Promised Neverland looking, and I mean that very positively. I love designs in Promised Neverland. Looking guy. That's very cool, very different from Oda. And he's like, pathetic. What was the point of the blockade? I ate the cow devil fruit and then my head decomposed. Anyway,
you're doing Halloween voices. You're doing great. You're doing great.
Thank you, Abby.
Stay the course.
Okay. And then we get a right from the third one, who presumably is a woman. I don't know. That's the only defining characteristic I could see. Is there anything else about her?
Polka dots.
Leather.
Minnie Mouse.
She has polka dots?
Exposed midriff?
Exposed. Well,
Yeah.
that's different in One Piece. This is
and no chiseled
unique
abs,
character.
so that's how you know it's a woman.
Wrong. I was looking at the wrong panel.
And we go to the next page as we see the slaves who have been running away. Well, not even the slaves. These are the citizens, I think, of God Valley, saying what's happening as the chaos, as additional chaos ensues, chaos on top of chaos. As one of the Marines says, it's Roger and Rox. This one might be too much for us, but just in the nick of time. Help has arrived.
All Might.
No. It's Vice Admiral Garp. And these two Marines are in love with him. They love they go eek.
Sorry.
And they're like, and he's just after the love of his life. Tell me where to find Roger.
My platonic life partner.
My platonic that I want to murder, but also,
Platonic life partner.
also I want to raise his son.
Platonic life enemy.
Platonic life.
Is that the
And
Bastille over there?
On the left.
Ooh.
Oh, where?
Next to Garp.
Yeah.
Bastille.
I think it is. Yeah.
Oh.
There.
Steel.
Could be, yeah.
Oh, yeah, could be. But come on, we're
Dawn is
missing
covering
the headline here.
Bogart?
Bogart is back.
Bogart.
Bogart.
Yeah, the first
is
time
back.
Oda's drawn him in like 20 years.
No, I think he was in like the corner of a panel recently,
Rainford.
maybe.
Yeah, he was always in the corner of a panel, Zach.
Oh, that's true. He's in the corner of this panel.
Yep.
I like to imagine he's like the Garp of Al Capone.
Sure.
Of
Capone Beige.
That's
Yeah, I don't think he's been born
Beige.
yet, or he's like 5 also. He's way younger,
He
I
probably
know.
had an identical dad who, the family has
The
been
Capone
passing it down.
family, yeah.
Yeah.
Although, is it Capone his first name? No, it is his last name.
The
Anyway.
Beige family. We all know one.
Anyway, it's absolute chaos. But I believe this is Eva saying, I cannot believe our luck. And Kuma holding the paw fruit, looking kind of unimpressed, saying, this is it? And Eva saying, yeah, it sure is. I don't know which one this is, but let's eat them. I'm going to become the Azure Dragon and take over Wano. And proceeds. Well, what happens next, Abby?
Wow, and here's another person with polka dots, who, I can only assume is evil Minnie Mouse, bursts in and says, "Ah, not so fast," with like one of those big pointy smiles
That's
that Oda
Lin-Lin.
reserves for the very evil or the very good. That is Lin-Lin. Oh my gosh. She looks totally different from behind.
You've never seen Lin-Lin from
and-
behind. I don't know where.
Well, I consider it enough of a curse to see Lin-Lin from the front. Then she grabs Eva and grabs the fruit and says, "Aha, not so fast." And she goes for poor Kuma, and Kuma's crying, and he's like, "No." And Eva's like, "Eat it, Kuma, don't think. Eat the fruit and save yourself." And he manages to turn away, and Eva points out they only need one survivor in order to win, which tactically I'm not sure is true, but dramatically it holds up, and Kuma's crying as he's thrown away by, let me check the first name of Saturn, J. Garcia Saturn, Mr. Spider himself. I don't know why I was tempted there to correct myself. Sorry for spoilers. For what we read last week.
I was going to say, not just last week, his name was introduced quite a while ago. I feel like
I don't know if you read the next 38 years of this comic. In 38 years, he turns into a spider guy. I think, they take care of him. Those other guys were doing shadow puppets. I think he's the only monster guy. He's one bad apple. World government's been fixed. Just take care of him. You're fine.
Since we're talking anyway, so it seems to me that this is that weird eye technique that he was using in the present day.
He's just winking,
right?
like Ivankov.
Yeah, maybe that's where Ivankov got it from. Yeah, it's weird because it looks like he hits a barrier or something or gets thrown.
Exactly.
Yeah.
He does kind of have like his arm sort of out, so that might just be he was moving so fast. I don't know. But he says, "The Buccaneer boy, you're only give me a okay." So I have a little nephew who calls me Gomo because I'm the sister of his father, and that's the Korean word for auntie. He calls me Gomo, and I've always been thinking what a great One Piece laugh Gomo is, and I don't know Jay Garcia's One Piece laugh, so he goes. Gomo, gomo, gomo. Mugiwara no Luffy.
Oh, she's back.
The Buccaneer boy. Gomo, gomo, gomo. Actually, is it listed on... Okay, he doesn't have one listed.
Yeah, I don't think he's ever
Your only options are slavery and death. History
they're...
itself shows them for you. Sorry, go on.
No, I was going to say the elders are humorless. They don't laugh.
They don't laugh, yeah.
Even at Misery.
Oh, but if I was destroying the world, like I would at least want to be able to enjoy it, because otherwise you got nothing. You're going to hell. That's all you're getting.
It's too real.
Your only options are slavery and death. History itself chose them for you. And Kuma's like, "Are you important, mister? It doesn't make sense that you're born important, and there's no reason for someone to be born a slave." He's doing his Luffy speech, but he doesn't have. He hasn't grown like Luffy yet. He's baby Kuma, and he's just able to curse his fate. He says, "If I've got some kind of power, then I want to be like Nika and save as many of these unfortunate people as I possibly can." I think Edward or Alex, someone was saying something. I'm so sorry.
No, they weren't.
I was getting carried away with myself with the emotion of the moment. I'm going to save as many of these unfortunate people as I possibly can. And Saturn says, "Which is why you people will vanish for good.
That's a good voice.
I am Emperor Sheev. Do it.
Remember?
Somehow I've returned." But then speak.
I think it's really funny that his name is Sheev.
Emperor Sheev Saturn? Yeah, that is a weird name.
Yeah.
That's what it should have been.
Emperor J. Garcia Palpatine. That's a delight to roll off the tongue. That's wonderful. So Rox and Roger are still fighting in the distance, and we get what I believe is called an ellipse as the scene fades. I think slightly early on this scene. This event would be lost to the dark shadows of history, and potentially even to this comic itself.
I was gonna say, what? Stephen, since you read this probably longest ago, do you remember your thought upon seeing this particular fadeaway?
That we were transitioning away. I was like, well, okay, so me and Greg in our discussion, we sort of like broke it down like, okay, if this is the full story of God Valley, like if we're going to find out everything that happened here, yeah, that's got to be like 10 chapters. If it's not, it could be, 3 chapters. It could be real short. And this definitely is not the full story of God Valley, but it's from Kuma's perspective, so I think it makes sense. This is Kuma's flashback to cut it here and to show what happened to him after that.
Did Rox die in God Valley? I forget the timeline with Rox.
I have to look. I don't know if he died, but the pirates, they definitely all broke up.
Yeah, he broke up.
This was like it was supposed to be, I think the way Sengoku put it was this was their last score, right before retirement. This is the, last gig.
Every time anyone says Sengoku, I always think it's Son Goku and get so excited.
Well, he does turn gold sometimes, so we're not that far off.
It's true. But does he ever turn blue? Jill, go ahead.
And he does answer to Sun Wukong, the Pan Fleet Admiral. Take it away, Jill.
So we go away from God Valley to Sorbet Kingdom in the South Blue. Big Mom probably going to sue them later for copyright infringement on dessert themed islands. I guess she came later, but sometimes people just do that. Then Eva's talking to his friends here. The only news story is the Legend of Garp's heroics. They won't print anything else. Just what the powerful want. This Morgan's writer is such a hack. Meanwhile, Morgan's was probably crying in a corner. We still have no idea what happened on that island. So, much like us, we still have no idea what happened on that island. So I guess all we can do is pray. We are in a church, and Kuma is kneeling amongst the pews. Place looks pretty abandoned there. There's a candelabra on the ground, but at least it's still standing. And then Eva's like, why are you still praying, Kuma? I'm thinking of the other lives I could have saved. As he's devoutly praying. They're all bandaged up, so you can clearly tell this has been some time, but not too far in the future. And Eva's, knock it off. Amongst all the chaos and violence, you saved over 500 lives back there. And then Ginny, on top of a pew, that's right, Kumachi, you were amazing. Everybody was crying with gratitude. Even I was. And Eva points at Kuma now, saying, and now you've got the hands of liberation that set people free. And Kuma gets to look at his cute little kitty paws. I guess they're bear paws. I don't care. Hands of liberation.
No, they did show a kitty in the...
That's just what Jenny was thinking.
Yeah, no, it's just funny that's...
Yeah.
I think maybe it's only considered bear paws because Kuma is a bear guy. It could be
bear.
any paw. Maybe it just
To be fair.
manifests the paw most like your soul.
My son often asks if he has a paw because we have 2 dogs, and I've had to explain that that's not the case.
Wrecking his dreams. God.
Yeah, that's what I'm here for. That's what fatherhood is all about.
So we get an outside shot here where I'm assuming even Cobb says, so your family ran a church? Explains so much about you. So is this Church of Nika that we're looking at here? Or is
that's
something a little more... is the Bible he's carrying
too.
around the Bible of Nika? Do we need to be reading that book?
I don't think so. At least
It's also not Jesus Christ, I assume.
Well, there is a Bible.
There are crosses everywhere.
I mean, there is a Buddha, too, I guess, so it could be.
Yeah.
14-foot high golden Buddha.
Well, we've got the weird planets going on. I think it's safe to say it's space Jesus.
They're Unitarian.
Well, Obi-Wan's not here yet. And then we get the shot of Eva in a cute new tank top with bows on it. Welp, it's time for me to go to sea. I've got to make the most of this freedom. And Kuma's like, for as long as I live, Eva, I'll never forget your face. Wahaha, no one ever has. It's such a good line. And Ginny has decided that I'm going to stay here with Kumachi and figure out what to do with my life, bro. That's how you know Ginny is Californian. As they get this cute little shot, as they cheer off, and Ethan Cobb just says, so long, my friends. And then Ginny pumping herself up. Okay, I'm 4 years older, so it's up to me to feed little Kumachi.
I'll say I'll never forget your face line was related, I think a fan pointed out to me at least, to the Marineford when he did forget his face, or their face, because of the fact that they no longer had any soul. Yeah, so that has tragic undertones. That joke.
Well, they all join the Revolutionary Army at some point in the future as well.
Yeah.
We'll
No, I mean obviously much later. So then the cute vignette finally continues. And we have, and this was also pointed out, and it did immediately come to mind that a lot of this is, we saw that, what would the 7 warlords look like as kids, and that
with the firewood,
was a while ago. Yeah, with the firewood and him. What was that? It was related to a tail, right, or something. Steven,
I don't remember
because
He
the
had a
name on the book,
yeah,
it
Said
said
Nino
something.
Keen on it.
Yeah.
I don't remember off the top of my head if that was if that is something or not.
I remember when it came out, whatever volume that was, many years ago.
Yeah, a long time ago.
I think the book was about the sun god's oranges. Mikan no Nika.
Anyway, I'll try and find that when we're at the end. He's split in wood. Kuma looks adorable, and I forgot who last time pointed out that he looks like Steve a little bit. And now every panel, I just
It was
imagine
me.
it was you, Alex.
Totally.
Yeah.
So now with every panel I see Kid Kuma, I'm just imagining Steve. So I want you all listening to also imagine Steve Yurko enacting these scenes.
It's so tiny. I love the immediate transition from Ginny saying, "It's up to me to feed little Kuma." Next panel,
Split
Kuma's
those
splitting
logs.
wood.
Those logs.
Let's get selling. And there she is sitting atop the logs on his back. No more digging through trash. No more stealing. We buy our food. And there are some ruffians who also to interrupt myself.
Michael and
pointed
Hoikel.
out. Well, I wish it was Michael and Hoikel. But someone pointed out that they look very similar to the henchmen.
Oh yeah,
for
Dogra and
Bonnie.
Magra.
Right? Is that what they're called? I forget.
Are they really named Dogra Magra? That's the bleakest
No,
joke
it
I've
can't
ever
be
heard.
Dogra and Magra. Those are back in.
Yeah, those are in East Blue.
Dawn.
Never mind. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
It was Bonnie's henchmen. I forget the name. If you look,
Oh shit!
yeah.
I'm
Again,
gonna
that
look
is not
right now.
mine. I'll try and credit at some point. Anyway, follow us on our Discord because you get to see stuff like that. Anyway, here is Ginny beating them up. And
Okay, yeah.
do you see what I mean? They do their hairstyles really are unique
The hat,
and
Oh,
yeah.
and their face.
specific.
Their
yeah,
faces,
and the
too.
faces. Yeah, like this isn't just like, oh, Bonnie has the same hair color as yeah. I'm a
Yeah,
subscriber
those
to
are-
that now. Yeah.
Those are they. Those are they.
Who talks
Yeah,
like
same
that?
hat and everything.
And so yeah, Ginny beats them pretty senseless, but Kuma uses his newfound powers to remove the pain from each of them. And he says, I'm sorry about that. Ginny's actually very nice, even though she beat you both up.
Do I
And
understand Kuma's powers right? That these bubbles will just float around and then eventually someone will walk into them and like,
Yeah. Oh,
Ow, my head.
bubbles!
it's like I just got beaten by a stick
I mean,
repeatedly.
how would he know that yet?
Yeah.
Yeah, to
Fair.
be fair.
Just causing-
I mean, a bird will fly into it. Really. I mean, I think that's.
oh
It
no!
actually goes
the
up
poor
to space, and Eneru is there. And
What
he's
if-
like, "What is this?"
Okay,
No,
Hell-
Eneru hasn't gotten there
Hell
yet. This is-
survives this bomb explosion. And this bubble, having floated for 38 years, smacks him in the face.
Like, oh, thank God I survived that. Be good.
You see, that's a great. That needs to happen. That's the Chekhov's gun of pause. So they're all like amazed. The two kids. Oh, it's better. The pain just flew away. Was that magic? And now Kuma has followers, and they're all singing Kumachi, Kumachi. Is this supposed to be? I don't know.
Is that one kid's shirt? Does it say old man?
Yes.
Yeah, it does.
Which, by the way, all kids should have shirts that say "old man."
It looks like an I, oldie known,
Oh yeah, maybe.
ondy noun.
Oh, you're right.
I guess with the suspenders.
Do you, Stephen? Do you have any? Guesses?
Oldemon. He's a
He's a
Digimon.
Pokemon. Yeah.
Oh, thank
no.
you, Steve. Yes,
It's the
Digimon.
Oldemon. That's like an alderman, but anyway.
Yeah, that's what parents in 1998 called it Alderman.
It was the Frog No Hippo of 1998.
Sorry, that's such a stupid joke. Okay, let me get back to the serious nature of this. Chomp, chomp, munch, scarf, gobble, chomp, chomp, munch. So they are eating. If you can't tell by my Ben Stein like reading of what's going on here, and rice balls. I'm gonna guess it's unclear.
Those look like meatballs.
This little girl was selling dango down by the street corner. She wouldn't say where she got them.
Just spherical something. Some sort of ball. And I love the cute spelling here of not enough. Still hungry. This is Ginny asking for more, and Kuma just pops out 3 more, or gives the remainder of his to her, and she is thrilled. What a cute little panel. Actually, these are all really cute panels. As Kuma says, "You eat so much, Ginny. We've got a lot of work to do." And she gets up, looks out the window. "When did you turn into a slave, Kumachi?" 4. It's like, "Hey, me too." And, it's not really a good thing that happened. And then she's just thrilled about how full she is, and Kuma asks, "What?" And full on Oda tears. This part also gets me. As Ginny is crying, and Kuma's like, "What? Don't cry, Ginny." And one of them, or both of them, say, "I'm so happy." And when a chapter ends like that, only good things are going to come.
I have a crack theory about this page that I haven't seen anyone talk about. I mean, obviously with her appetite, they're trying to set her up as Bonnie's mom.
Yeah.
But she's acting a whole lot less mature than she was when she was like hacking the phone lines and stuff earlier.
Mm-hmm.
And so I think she's already, like, this is Jewelry Bonnie. She's already eaten the age fruit and it's screwing up. And she's gotten younger over the last couple of weeks. And, like, he's going to re-raise her. That's my crack theory.
That
That's
feels
not going to be true, but I like it.
It feels too complicated.
Also, Bonnie doesn't have freckles. Ginny has freckles.
Why doesn't Bonnie have
She'll
freckles?
stay out of the sun the second time.
She'll use SPF 50. So that does it for the chapter, and the best news of all, not just that they're happy, the manga's back next week. Right?
Hey.
Yeah. So thoughts on this chapter, Jill? Let's start with you.
My God, what a dense chapter. There's so much to look at on every single panel. I would just like to thank Oda for giving me Big Mom for my birthday. It's always a pleasure seeing Lin Lin in her element of just being evil all the time. Punching kids. She's getting used to it. Yeah, I don't know. There's so much happening here. I'm disappointed we didn't get more of God Valley, but what we got was freaking incredible. And I'm sure I can't imagine Oda drags us out for too much longer. I'm sure we're gonna get like more information on this real soon. Maybe not even like from like attached to Kuma's flashback, but someone else's. But I can't imagine he just leaves us hanging for another few years. But man, it's fun seeing these youngins. Roger without his facial hair, Garp just chilling out. Like poolside, I guess. It's there's so much coming that we're gonna learn, and it's kind of nuts after so many years with One Piece. And then the Kuma stuff is, I'm way more invested than I thought I was, because I'm gonna be honest, I've never really cared that much about Kuma. Like, I've never been like, I hate this bear man, but I've never been like, oh yeah, favorite warlord Kuma. Like, I've just been like, okay, pretty much forever. But this is because he's literally never had a personality. That's not his fault. That's just what has occurred. But this,
to be fair, he got turned into a robot.
Yeah, like, I don't blame him for it. That's just, life. We all know some dull people in our lives, and we just kind of have to accept it.
I never think of Kuma much either, but my little second cousin Ronnie was dressed as Kuma for Anime Expo.
Oh.
I couldn't go there, so we were just like walking around downtown, and he was still in like the shirt and the hat. And people kept like coming over to him for pictures and stuff. So I guess he's made an impact.
That's awesome.
On like real people. Like, these weren't even cosplayers, or like, this was the other side of town. I don't know.
I love that.
I was pleasantly surprised.
But yeah, I'm excited for the rest of this flashback. I'm invested in Kuma now, and Ginny, who may or may not be Bonnie or Luffy's mom, but I'm still holding out for Crocomom. So fingers crossed.
Oh.
I think this.
Me.
Abby, your thoughts?
We're through the looking glass, people.
Come closer to the mic,
I'm all
Abby.
in. Oh, sorry. I'm all in for Streisand as the sixth member of the five Elder Stars. I think he's in the right place at the right time. I think maybe he is Giancarlo Esposito Saturn. I love it. As I say, I had Ichni Sunshine Yon We Go like just blasted in my head the whole time. Every time people get off of ships in this show, it's always it's just in my head. It's weird how when they started dropping stuff with rocks, I remember having a very internal more backstory before we could get to the fireworks factory. But then now that it's a lot like Sabo. Like I felt Sabo was very unnecessary at the beginning, and then he paid off, and I was like, oh well. Now that I've lived with it for a couple of years, I'm glad it's paid off, and Luffy's freaking out. That's nice. So I guess that's. I can't think of a lot of other like things that have lasted this long, where you'd have that level of planting and payoff and that much patience in the people making it, which is impressive. It's something frightful to behold.
There you go. Tying it back to our Halloween special that is this episode. Anything else, Abby?
No, I like seeing new versions of all these characters. Baby Eva and so forth. That's fun.
Steve,
I need to turn on a lamp.
Steven.
Boy. Yeah, there's a lot. There's a lot that can be said about this chapter. I do think it's kind of the. It's interesting because this chapter feels like it's very much packed with fan service, just like the scenes with the Rocks pirates. I mean, that's basically what it is. Like, we don't even see Rocks; we just see a bunch of people we've already seen before. But it's just so exciting to see them in this context. And what is always so good, like one of his great strengths is the ability to just kind of throw a lot of just like, you know, give them one or two lines of dialogue, like largely out of context, and then allow you to kind of imagine what he's implying about them. Like he's so economical with his characterization in that way, where, you know, you really get a lot, you get big swaths of, you know, their characterization just from like a single line of dialogue. And he's so good at setting them up like that. So seeing the Roger Pirates, seeing Garp, all that stuff is very exciting. And it's funny because like there isn't really, I mean, I think this is a really great chapter. But there's really nothing like iconic about it or anything that we were like, oh my God, that's the moment. Like that was the thing that made this so cool. You know, it's just his almost magical ability to consistently pay off, like, you know, to use the length of his story and the investment that we have in all of these characters and just make them even richer. Like, I totally agree with what Jill said about Kuma. Like, he was always the least, you know, I had the least impression from him of all of the other you know, warlords and sort of characters in that general sphere of like, you know, these are important people that are badasses in some way, but I don't really get what, you know, what's going on with Kuma and, you know, his weird like robotic nature and all these things, and like being able to see this part of his personality and to see a lot of the ways that they all fit together, like how he got his power, which, you know, we don't often find out, like the circumstances of when people get their devil fruit. But seeing that and having it be like an impactful moment in the story is so cool to have happen. Like, so often that stuff is an afterthought, but it really feels like Oda knew what he was going to do with you know, Kuma's backstory and was saving it for this moment. And yeah, I just thought that was so cool. I love Ginny too. Like, I'm not positive. It's not really clear if Ginny is related to Ivankov. I'm kind of leaning against that just because of the way that she's, you know, Ivankov's like, all right, I'm going to go and sail to sea. Like, he's not like, all right, come with me, my sister. And she's just like, yeah, no, I'm just gonna stay here. Like, chill. We'll see you later. So that to me suggests that they were just kind of hanging out together, and Ivankov being the older one, she called him bro. As Frankie and the Square sisters, their relationship worked kind of the same way. But I love Ginny. I think she's so adorable. She's very cute. She's bursting with personality. And although I don't think it's necessarily a fair comparison, I just think back to like the last big like flashback female character we saw, which was Toki, and like she was almost nothing. Like she had almost no presence in the story and the scenes that she was there. And I feel like Ginny just has so much more personality and so much more memorable, just from these scenes that we see here. And so, yeah, I'm definitely on the camp that this is the meeting of, Bonnie's parents here as Kuma and Ginny. So I do think that we will see some more happy moments between them before something horrible happens, since this is a One Piece flashback. But
Kuma does join the revolutionaries at some point.
Yeah. So yeah, we still have to see how does Kuma become the king of Sorbet Kingdom, because very clearly he was not from the royal family. He was from the church. So yeah, it's interesting. But yeah, I love the two that his background as his family being the church explains his carrying the Bible around. That was really interesting too. A lot of great details that I think make all of his past appearances feel maybe not more impactful, but they feel like they make sense as a character more than they did in the past, which is, something that I didn't like about Kuma. And I think this flashback is doing wonders to make him such a more interesting and compelling character for me. So, what a great chapter. Can't say enough good about it.
I want to bring up something. I was just thinking about it while you're talking. It's so interesting that we don't actually know how Kuma and Ko escaped. Because we literally cut off right as Saturn is like in front of him. Like, how did we get out of that situation? And does it relate at all to Kuma, like being a buccaneer and like maybe some deals that he has to have with the world government later on in his life?
Or did he just?
I would imagine like Rox and Roger clashing with Satan. Like it has to have something to do with Satan. Satan's there.
I have to say,
it's Satan.
If there's not a story reason for it, I am disappointed that we don't see any of what Ginny describes as like that feels like such an important character moment. What is it? It's better shown, not told. I'm disappointed we didn't see that specific thing.
Which thing from Ginny? Are you
Ginny saying
the 500.
Yeah, amidst all the chaos and violence, you saved over 500 lives back there, and also just how they got there.
It's the powers. It's the pop.
I was going to say we could connect the dots, but I think, which is probably what Oda was assuming, like they could figure it out. It's pretty self-explanatory.
Yeah.
But
it's possible
I think
he might be saving it.
Yes, I prefaced it that. Yeah.
I'm fine with it being back. Yada yada. It doesn't bother me.
That's the perfect way to put it.
Yeah.
I also think it's interesting that God Valley, as presumably, it was not chosen because it was like some mystical land, like that I thought it was like super important, but like I don't know, just like the Celestial Dragons really wanted this island that no one else took, and they're like, God, let's just take it. It's interesting.
They did say it was about like their natural resources, so this might have been whatever was before the revolutionaries. They'd found the Hito Hito no Nika. Fruit.
No, it sounded like they stole
that's not the
Rox.
one that was there. It was the Papa. Okay,
it sounds like they stole both of those from Rox, right?
I thought Rox just wanted them.
Or it said they stole it from
back.
Full-Led. They wanted them back. Yeah, I think that's what...
Oh, okay.
So I think the world government, or I should say CP0, Celestial Dragons, whatever it might be, stole the fruits. That's also yada yada. But it's Garp. I think Garp's line specifically makes it like, what did they expect? They stole from pirates. Anyway, Steven, anything else?
No, that's it.
Alex.
Okay, so starting from the beginning of the chapter, that fellow with the gas mask looks a whole lot like one of Big Mom's orphan pals, which is why I was reading Big Mom's Flashback earlier today.
Or that desert punk guy? Is that the show?
Yeah.
Or Damask from Dressrosa.
Ah, Damask.
Oh shit, I forgot about Damask. Well, anyway, I thought that maybe there was some relation.
Okay.
Somebody stop me. So, let's see. Oh yeah, I love the chapter, by the way. That was great. I sort of wanted it to keep going on forever just because this is a portion of the story that has been alluded to a whole lot. But seeing it from solely Kuma's point of view, of course, makes the most sense. I thought for sure we were going to get a Rocks reveal here, but I guess since Kuma never sees him, then why do we care right now? Plus, that would totally overshadow whatever is happening on Egghead too. This has got to be about the Coomster.
Don't call him
that. Roger without a mustache, like no, I don't like it. Put the mustache back on. He just kind of looks like Scruffy Ace, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
Scruffy looking.
Oh yeah, Roger is. Garp in that panel where he's leading the charge. I think he's drawn way too beefy.
He was pretty beefy when he was laying down too.
Yeah, but he wasn't like burly. Like there's a difference between that and like what we see of him here, where he's like this is old. This is like old body Garp, where he's big and burly, and he should be jacked, but he shouldn't be like a barrel with arms.
Yeah.
Well, it also looks that way because his arm is reaching across his chest. It makes him look like he's got big Rob Liefeld tits.
Yeah, sure. Yeah.
I like that in this chapter he acts out the I sleep, I wake meme.
Oh yeah.
It's a good one.
This is I think there's a really fun what if here. Like what if Eva ate that
someone drew that. It's
the
on
fish fruit.
No,
it's very funny.
Yeah, that's super good. Yeah, the missing piece is interesting. But I think I am at this point more interested in whoever Ginny is to Kuma. Now, Kumachi, is that I keep thinking about Kumasi.
It's very similar.
A little bit.
Yeah.
And I wonder if
Damasari Kumashi. So it's a popular video game.
I wonder if this. First I was like, well, maybe if there were Vegas betting odds as to who Ginny was, I think Perona would definitely be like 130-1 odds. But maybe Perona's eyes are like that because she ate the horo fruit. I don't know, crackpot theory. But like Kumachi, so I guess that's sort of like saying Odachi, right? It's like a nickname.
It's interesting because she doesn't say Kumachi to like emphasize the chi part, where I might double up the C's. It's just Kumachi with an extended. So it literally is like just one character difference from Kumashi, which is the bearsy.
Yeah, I wondered like if it was also like a thing like what God help me out, who's the mermaid?
Kami?
Otohime?
Kami, thank you.
Oh.
Kami calls Luffy the honorific
Chin.
Luffy Chin, right? And I wonder if that was similar to this.
Yeah, I mean it's obviously a nickname. Maybe we'll find out there's some angle to it in the next chapter or two. That's possible, but right now it just seems like it's just kind of a cutesy name that she gave him.
Yeah, and my one other comment is in the panel where they both reveal that they were four when they were enslaved. That is definitely a Steve ass rendition of of Kuma. Looks like Steve.
How long have you been stuck working in animation? 4 years.
Wait,
That's
don't
not
cry,
something
Steve.
you should be happy about.
Don't cry, Steve. Oh no. Yeah, the one where he's crying. That's how Steve cries, I assume.
I'm done. But that was great chapter. Can't wait for next week.
Thank you, Alex. Ed.
This was an excellent chapter. I think Oda really does a good job again of pointing out the depravity of the world government. I mean, we're sort of glossing over this, but this is a human hunt. They're going to kill people, and this woman is crying. I stuck on this. I mentioned this twice already. This woman is just crying about my child, and everyone's bleeding and screaming, and they're just laughing about it. So he never misses a chance to point out, that the celestial dragons are barely humans, and they don't deserve any of your sympathy. So he's doing a very good job there. But other than that, besides what everyone else has already mentioned, it's interesting to see. We just get a better sense of these historical characters' personalities. Like, this is not necessarily a side of Garp that we've seen, like as a young man. Just him acting more like Luffy, I think, than usual. But and Ivankov giving this very emotional, very powerful speech. So the thing that I'm sort of thinking about, are all the things that didn't happen in this chapter. Like, Dragon doesn't show up, the revolutionaries aren't formed, there isn't some big thing. This is just going to be Kuma's flashback. But that's what I think about when I think about this chapter, is all the things that are going to be shown, or maybe will not be shown. But yeah, it's just interesting to me how, I think about Dragon a lot. But like, how does he go from being the, son of Garp, the hero, presumably not much older than him and Eva are about the same age. So like, what's Dragonoff doing while his dad's doing this? That's something that I think about. But I do like I'm more convinced than ever that, Ginny is actually Bonnie's mother, and obviously as a mother, something terrible is going to happen to her. So that's just,
mother's the opposite of adventure.
It's right. Fine. Yeah, I say this all the time.
Can I also put forward your line? I think about Dragon a lot as a great title for this episode.
Yeah, for a chapter in which he does not appear.
Yeah,
hear me out.
Talking about. Oh, sorry.
Oh no, go ahead.
Talking about Garp, because like the comic does a great job onboarding you with Kobe and everything about like, you can see why someone would want to join the Navy, and like he stays in the vice admiral position so that he can actually help me or help people. Help me. He should help me. I need help. But like this chapter is the first time where I'm like, he's fine with the human hunting. He should be shot.
Like, everyone is
Garp
okay with it. Yeah, everyone accepts that this is a thing that happens. So
yeah, that's an interesting.
Well, Garp doesn't know what's going on.
I was the
over
most
there,
Garp
though.
apologist.
No, he said in the first page they said they got
don't
plenty
think
of security there, right?
But he doesn't know what they're doing. He's like, it's the field trip.
why such
I
a
guess
remote
if he's
island?
not
I can't
interested
tell you
in
that.
helping defend it from rocks and he only goes for Roger, I guess maybe I'm less disappointed in him, but never meet your heroes,
we know he's
folks.
only going because of Roger. He says that.
Yeah.
Mhm.
His boyfriend.
Yeah. So and actually Kong couldn't tell him why such a remote location, but there's also the what's going on here with the rocks pirates. I just love the way that they're characterized, and I think Alex, you pointed it out that between two lines of basically these characters hardly get to say anything, but you still get a sense of reinforces how they've been characterized previously. It's very, I think, consistent, and adding Shiki and Gloriosa into the mix is
Agreed.
I'd read a comic just about them. They're like, they barely appear, and they're still very interesting given what they all go on to become. So, but
My theory is that the skull of Fullalet Island, I think God Valley is his butt.
It's the Futurama joke. What is it? The great face of Mars and the great ass of Mars.
Aww.
Something like that. Ed, anything else?
No, I'm just curious about how much more of the Adventures of Kuma we're going to see. Obviously, like I said, there's going to be a time when he does join. He becomes king and joins the revolutionaries. Like, what happens with Eva and Dragon, and how do they come back to that and end up with Kuma again at that point? That's what I wonder about.
Yeah. Yeah. That's a good point. From what hasn't been said, Garp definitely has Luffy eyes, or Sabo eyes, or Kobe eyes, depending on what you want to call it here. This chapter, the first half, the God Valley stuff, was, maybe it's just because we do the podcast and I'm like trying to think of stuff ahead of time, was so dense it was overwhelming, because I'm looking at all the different characters and I'm like, where have I seen these people before? What was this person's name? And expecting to see all these people, because God Valley was already this super Noe school. So I was expecting this. And the fact that it happens within so few pages really makes it dizzying. Not to say bad, but just for me as a reader, it was a lot.
He's really straining like the limits of what he can do in terms of pacing in a chapter like this, in terms of like panel size and how much information he can give you. Like, it really felt like it was teetering on the edge in some pages on this one. Absolutely. And that the thing is, I really like the back half. I'll say I like the front half of the last chapter, or the front half of the flashback for the last chapter, and the back half of this one, because they're both those kind of old school vignettes that we kind of discussed a little bit on the previous manga recap. It not to say, look, I love the hell out of lore and seeing familiar faces. It really felt like Oda was just trying to get through it, and it shows in some aspects. I think it's so difficult because he's at the point in the story where I understand he has to expound upon what's going on in these very important events, and he's using the flashbacks to do this. But I want to see Kuma's character story in this, and it should be the focus of it. And if it can't be the focus of a specific thing, he's like wrestling with those two things. He's like, I want to show the readers a little bit of God Valley, and sure as hell I want to see all of it, don't get me wrong. But I also want to show this as Kuma's story and the hardships that he went through. And it's a little muddled because of the fact that he has to split those two things. And also, it's only 17 pages of content he's putting into this. And, it's so weird to say a 1096 chapter series feels rushed at points, but here we are. It's so dense that I didn't even notice until just this moment that Garp's fist has the Conqueror's hockey stuff coming out of it, or armament, or whatever that is. Ed, I will never be able to unsee the chest thing that you mentioned on Garp. You've ruined that panel for me. Thank you. Or made it. It depends.
It looks like he's I don't know. He's sort of like cocking his fist like he's like Henry Cavill in that Mission Impossible movie.
Yeah. Yeah.
Wearing a gum pistol.
Yeah.
I mean, that's his technique. He does.
Yeah.
I mean, I guess that's also Luffy's technique.
But it also does look like bosoms.
Yeah, I mean, I can't unsee that, as I just said.
I don't see it.
Well, consider yourself lucky.
I'm trying to see it.
They're a little lopsided.
It's it's an optical illusion.
Okay.
Yeah,
I sort of see it.
It's like once you see it,
it's also the limitations of the black and white manga, and also it's hard to differentiate his arm from his jacket,
especially
and
when
also
his arm
shoulders don't really
like
move
that.
at that angle.
Yeah, it looks like a shadow instead. Well, it is a shadow, but it's supposed to represent movement. What the hell was I talking about? Sorry, completely gone. Oh, so what I was also saying, like, yes, I want this to be Kuma's story, but I also want to know the Vox Pirates whole story and Kaido's back, like this missing period in Kaido's story and Big Mom's story. And I know in the SGS last week, Stephen, you and Greg mentioned a lot about, you know, wanting to fill that gap in their backstory, and I totally want to see that. And seeing Shiki here, for example, was super cool, but it's annoying because it's both not the time or it's the place, but not the time for it. But also, damn, was I really let down when we left? So it's this, you know, I'm just going through my internal conflict here. I love the line. I think Abby read some of all of my favorite lines in this, because the stuff with Kuma talking to Saturn I thought was particularly poignant.
Child versus Satan is a really fertile ground for drama.
Just the idea of you're not born into just because you're born into a situation or whatever it is doesn't mean you are destined for that one thing. This is a super, and as Ed said, I feel like since we don't take things slow enough, things are so quick, we can't really sit in that awfulness that exists in this particular flashback. The human hunt thing, the Squid Games-ish kaiji kind of thing going on. The stuff with just this discussion about slavery and the One Piece world, and there's just so much fertile ground to really get into some really deep emotional and just philosophical and moral and ethical like discussion that Oda is really good at. But he's doing it, but it's fast. And I think that hurts it a little bit.
He's doing it, but it's fast is another great episode title.
Thank you, Abby. Other than that, I mean, like, this is fan service, so I can't say I didn't enjoy every moment of it. Like, this is fan service, the chapter. There's just so much. Like, that's, I think, why I was so overwhelmed by it. It's like too much. It's like getting too much candy on Halloween, and then the next day you just have a hangover. And so that concludes my Halloween special discussion. Any other thoughts on the chapter?
What trick-or-treat candy are you giving away, Zach?
Are you a full bar house?
Them. You know, I've always wanted to be, but they are really expensive. I had no idea how expensive those candy bags are. We're doing Reese's, I know, and what else? But we're not like the fun size. We're not those people. But we're, I think, the middle, whatever the middle of the road is between those. Well, Alex, what about you?
We're going to the in-laws to give out candy, so I'd love to be a full bar house one day. My mom is a full bar house. Like, that's, she gives out full bars.
Your mom's good.
My neighborhood,
she did a couple of years ago. Anyway.
My neighborhood.
Who says moms are the opposite of adventure?
Used to get 300 kids for Halloween. Now there's few enough that they could actually be a full bar house.
Nice.
There was a house on our block that gave out full bars, but they were just amateur rappers. It sucked.
Wow.
Amateur.
Go up and they'd be like,
the
"Hey, I see you dressed like a vampire. I wish that I'd thought of a rhyme ahead of time."
They're candy wrappers. Speaking of candy boys, I posted something in the chat. I went through and I screenshotted some pretty poignant panels here from Marineford.
Forgot the darling little candy boys. Sorry.
When Kuma and Eva face off, and Eva says, "How could you forget this face?" Which is a fun. So this chapter had a little fun callback to that.
Yeah.
That, I think every time we've seen Kuma in this series, besides like very early on when you know nothing about him, you're like, okay, I know later this is going to feel really emotionally awful, but I don't know why yet. And the pieces are starting to fit in together. And so I think upon a reread, Kuma's character hopefully will have a lot of new depth and tragedy, which we knew existed, but we didn't know why. And I'm sure we're in the early stages of that. Any other thoughts on tragedy or Halloween candy?
It's good to see Bogart again. One of these days he'll find that dastardly beer baron.
No, you won't.
Yes, I will.
Yes, I will. No.
Won't.
Look, sweetheart, you're gonna get into that castle, man. Because if you don't, you'll regret it. Maybe not today, maybe not tomorrow, but in 38 years, you'll have a flashback to when this happened.
This is the Piece Together segment where we take your questions, comments, and theories and ask the important question, do you think about Dragon a lot? Let's start, Ed, with our probably only segment on this week's Piece Together.
Zach, that segment is This Piece.
And Alex is going to take it away for this one.
Yeah, we've got a lot of this piece today, so let's get to it. Big Mike says, "Hey OPP, if Kuma is based on Arnold Schwarzenegger, does that make the Sorbet Kingdom the state of California in the One Piece world? And will Oda base any of Kuma's backstory as king on Arnold Schwarzenegger's term as governor?"
No, it's Steve. It's Steve.
I'm going to pause reading this for a moment, and I think he means like because the pacifista is sort of like the Terminator.
Oh, okay.
It's a play on Terminator too. It's like
I don't think Kuma became the king of Sorbet Kingdom by winning a bullshit recall election.
We'll find out next week.
Jenny
Steven, can you spoil for us if he wins through recall against what's his face?
I literally cannot. No.
Anyway. Is Bonnie the kid he conceived during an affair with his maid that he was paying hush money to when he was running for king during the Sorbet Kingdom recall election? There we go. Is he going to fill that hole in the ocean where Lelouch used to be? That's really a World Government Service trench. I doubt it, but still it's kind of interesting that there's a One Piece character who is a king and member of the Revolutionary Army based on a recent U.S. politician by default.
You know what? Sure.
That was a pretty
evidence
great,
is mounting.
Pretty great dunk, Big Mike. I like that. King Doji.
People forget that.
King Doji
says,
"Hey OPP, what an insane chapter. A little peeved that this didn't show us the actual God Valley incident, but I guess it's just not the time. My question is, who is more liked among the crew, Kuro or Krieg? A friend that I'm reading through with really prefers Kuro. I always thought that most people preferred Krieg, but between her and the treatment they both got in the live action, it got me thinking. Great podcasting as always." Do we want to go around the horn and say whom we prefer?
Sure.
Zach?
Well, maybe Kuro.
Wow. There was a time in which I would have said Kuro, but I kind of like how much of a blowhard Don Krieg is.
He annoyed the hell out of me at the time. Go ahead.
I don't know. I prefer the passive aggressive and the stylings of Captain Kuro.
The passion aggression.
The passion aggression.
Stephen Paul.
I mean, I think Don Krieg is a more effective or a more intimidating villain, but I think that Kuro is actually a more interesting character on the page. Mm-hmm. He's more fun to make fun of, at least.
Oh, God, yeah.
Jill?
Kuro, because he went all in on the cat theme. No one asked him to, but he just went for it.
And the poop thing down his...
No one asked for that either, but he just...
And it was in the live action for some reason. That made no... I'm like, why did you go so far?
I think to me, I'm thinking more about the Kuro in his own arc rather than him as like just a personality. Abby.
I think Kuro brings a kind of rugged masculinity that you don't often see in cat boys, and I admire that.
I did not see where that was going.
And Mike Patton, you're still on the call. What do you prefer?
Well, Mike isn't doing the.
Hey, I'm here. Who's the alternative?
Don Krieg or Kuro?
I like Don Krieg.
All right,
Mike likes.
I don't know. I don't have a reason. I just like him. All right, back to drawing. See you, everybody.
What about Pearl versus the weird cat boy twins?
Still
Pearl.
In
cats.
terms of like
I don't
Uber
like
henchmen.
I'm not gonna say I don't
They're
like
both
Pearl,
weird.
even when Steve's not on the. I don't like Pearl. Never did it for me, but the Meow Bond brothers never really totally did it for me either.
I always thought it was funny that Pearl was from the jungle.
Yeah, that's a weird
The jungle.
a weird detail that I think gets lost in the anime. I don't think.
Yeah,
they
it's not
say
in
it,
the
do they?
anime. Yeah, Steve knows all about this. But
Hey,
he's
it's
too busy.
Mike. I'm back. I like Pearl's big suit.
Yeah, Pearl has, I think, a fun design. I will say that.
All right, goodbye forever.
Steve would be here to explain more about Pearl, but he's too busy lugging logs across Los Angeles.
Yeah, he meant the urban jungle.
She's got kind of like a ballerina thing going on, and she's like the super ego to Amethyst's id.
If you were to ask me again, who do I prefer, Kuro or Krieg, I would say neither Django. The next, next
That's
question.
the right answer. That's the right answer.
Can I pitch one thing that'll show up the next time we see a flashback to God Valley?
What's that?
There'll be a kid frantically trying to put on armor to protect himself from the human hunt,
Oh.
and Cole will be like, "Look, you're hopeless. I'm going to send you to the East Blue."
That's funny. That would be quite good.
And he lands on Krieg's ship.
I like that. Rock's first eye patch says, so another long manga recap. If you do get to this piece, I just want to point out that Bogard has returned in flashback form, and that neither Akuma nor Ivankov could tell which was the paw fruit, despite one of them being shaped like a fucking paw.
Yes.
Yeah, I do still hate the trend of the fruit looking like the thing.
I hate it too. Like, yeah, don't. All right, Oda, don't try to make it seem like this isn't stupid.
Well, the dragon one didn't, but
The dragon,
one looked like the
it
scales.
has scales
Yeah.
and has horns. Like,
Oh, it had horns. I have
and
to
it's
look at that
blue.
picture.
It's
They're
blue
fruits of dreams.
How do you know it's blue?
Yeah, you don't
because
know.
they showed it in
Could be
the
pink.
One
in the
Piece magazine.
Yeah.
Oh.
Oh,
Yeah.
what's
I get that
next?
magazine.
Professional Payo says, hey, OPP, so I guess we're just not going to see what happened between Kuma and St. Garcia. I know this flashback didn't need to show the full God Valley incident, but this being an important scene for Kuma, I don't understand why we completely rushed past it. Aside from this blemish, an otherwise great chapter. I'm just going to come out and say that we probably will see it, and it'll be at a point where it will be more emotionally impactful.
I probably, since Saturn is relevant today.
Yeah.
I think that makes sense. I hope, I should say. There's no reason why they should skip it, and I'd be annoyed
That we know of.
Yeah.
Like,
I've been trying to imagine what the Boruto to One Piece's Naruto will be, and
Boofy.
what Oda's follow up. And I like to imagine the worst possible result is going to be just God Valley Hunt as like a battle royale manga.
oh,
It's the
God.
It was,
most
yeah, big
tasteless
battle
thing
royale
you could
vibes.
imagine.
It's true.
all right. So, Hopkins Hat says, of course, hey, OPP, how it be? With everything we know about Kuma, now what do you think he would have done with Luffy on Thriller Bark if Zoro hadn't stepped in? No way he would have handed him to the Marines.
I'm taking you
You
to
don't-
a higher power. Your father.
Oh, yeah, maybe. Yeah, maybe that was like the secret, like, warp zone trick, and Zoro screwed it up.
We also don't
Zoro
know.
got him lost.
Yeah.
There's at some point between Thriller Bark and everything else in Shabari, it seems like Kuma may have garnered new information about Luffy or figured out something about Luffy related to Nika or related to like why he went to such extremes to help that crew.
And why did
And-
he send him to Amazon Lily? I still can't figure that out.
Hockey
Because like some of
related?
the crew got sent places that are helpful, but like
no, it
some
was
of them
helpful
still
with
really...
with hockey. I think that's
Yeah.
what.
Yeah, but like
Hancock.
you would think that Kuma would have some
Hancock.
kind of a connection to Amazon Lily. I was actually thinking that Ginny might be from Amazon Lily, but I was looking up name of flowers and I couldn't find anything specific.
Yeah, good call, Jill.
Do you think what happened after Thriller Bark was Kuma encountered the spooky thing in the mists, and it was another Zunisha, and it was I don't remember the voice we gave Zunisha, but I imagine this one saying, "Hey, don't you think that kid looks like the sun god Nika?" He was like, "Oh man." You're darn right.
That's what a giant elephant sounds like?
That's what I like to imagine a giant elephant sounds like.
Okay,
Imagine you run into a kid that looks vaguely like Jesus.
I think you mean Ewan McGregor. Alex, what's next?
Wisdom Pythagoras says, "Hey OPP, Zach told me to post this here."
I don't like where this is going.
The Rock's pirates somewhat resemble the general zombies from Thriller Bark. Given this, what if Thriller Bark is actually the remnants of God Valley? The government lacked Mother Flame until recently, and Buster Calls still leave behind the base of the island. So, what if the West Blue Island Moria used to make Thriller Bark was actually God Valley? Thanks, OPP. And Wisdom Pythagoras has posted an image here of the General Zombie lineup.
I think Wisdom Pythagoras was the one. A lot of I should probably credit them for a lot of the connections with Thriller Bark, particularly.
So, they posted where some of these folks are in accordance to Thriller Bark, and the one that I couldn't nail down is also in the zombie lineup. So, the zombie lineup. I think that's a really cool throwback.
Oh, to explain all the ghosts on Thriller Bark.
Yeah, how many zombies were there actually?
Like
1,000,
700,
wasn't it? Or
it was
yeah,
like seven. Ours was number 700, right?
Okay.
Yeah,
Something
that was
like
probably the most. Yeah.
And I wonder if
wait, the tree's name was McDonald, according to One Piece Wiki.
That's great.
Yeah, I wonder who that.
Yeah, it's because Moku is the way you read the tree kanji.
Now the question is,
because it looks like smoke, like a plume of smoke.
Question is, what role did that tree have on the Vox Pirates? That's the questions we should be asking.
That's rocks.
What if he was just a tree?
I hope.
That would be the best. You could do your tree puns again, Steven.
Oh, yay.
37 NLs on the moon says, "Greetings, OPP. Out of all the revelations this chapter, I think the most important one by far is the new celestial dragon name from the first page. Say hello to the Man-Mayor family." I kind of wish that the celestial dragons were on Family Feud now. Just shooting each other. But in all seriousness, how are we feeling about Garp this chapter? Does his apathy towards the Manhunt game spoil the one of the good Marines view of him at all? We had a little discussion.
Yes,
It's not really
100%. Yeah.
Yeah, I think
it's clear.
It's debatable, whether or not he is aware. So he might, come to that realization landing on the island and seeing the full horror of what's going on.
I'll say the reason.
I guess if it's you can't fight 5 Satans at once. Like, I guess he couldn't stop.
Yeah.
Like, that would be why he wasn't rushing until he found out Roger. I don't know. Sorry, Zach.
I was going to say the reason, and it from chapter 957, Garp, what isn't an admiral, is because he did not want to have to work for the Celestial Dragons in any form. So obviously he has some detestment for them, and he even says, as I'm rereading, to Stelly before the Reverie, like, "Oh, you want to be one of those guys, those assholes?" So he has opinions.
He does, and I think what the monumental thing at God Valley was that Roger and Garp teamed up.
Yes.
And that's all we know, right? And
it says here, in short, this is the truth. This is Sengoku. In order to protect celestial dragons and their slaves at God Valley, Garp joined forces with Roger there at the island, and they broke apart the Vox pirates. That is the God Valley incident. So why would Roger also... Oh, it's to protect... So it's bolded and italicized, the slaves part. So it might have been in order to protect the slaves at God Valley versus the celestial dragons and their slaves. That might be what do you call it?
See.
Sengoku extrapolating something that wasn't there.
Yeah, like the Navy tries to cover up all the stuff, like the fact that like Luffy beat Crocodile, but they say that Smoker did.
Mhm.
Smoker gets pissed off about it. I wonder if there's a similar thing with Garp, where Garp was like, "No, I was protecting the slaves. I don't care about the Celestial Dragons."
Oh
And
yeah.
like, okay, well, yeah,
for
but we're gonna
sure.
spin it this way, Garp, because fuck you.
And the island itself vanishes, so there's a lot.
To
And Vox
become
wanted to
full of
be
lead
king of the
splat.
world. I don't know what the difference there is. Anyway, go ahead. Sorry.
Yeah, the old name was Butt Cracky before God Valley.
Cram Stoker says, "Ahoy OPP, banger chapter as always. So much going on. Wonder if it'll be controversial for me to say that I'm fine with not having seen Rox's face or the God Valley incident just yet, and instead just focusing on Kuma. I'm inclined to agree. My question is this. Is it just me, or is Roger much less hot without the mustache?"
Would you like a mustache?
Like a mustache. Oh, and P.S. bonus question, was that a Kuja and the Rocks Pirates with the snake?
Yes.
This
Grandma
was
Nyan.
old,
Yes,
old
we know
lady
her.
Nyan.
Yeah.
Yep.
Is that so? Do we know if that's the same snake? How long do snakes live? I guess is the question. But
I think they all just
That
have
boas.
snakes.
yeah, they just you have to
The
have a snake
Amazons,
when you're an
they
empress.
use they have the snake
Oh.
quills and stuff.
Oh, this reminds me. Shaki was not in this chapter.
Was
And-
Shaki part of the Rocks Pirates?
So
Well, Shaki,
it said
Shaki was
she was
the
she was
Empress.
part of. She was the empress before Gloriosa, I think.
No.
And
After Gloriosa, before Hancock.
somewhere.
So I wonder if that means she's
What is it?
acting
Divorce
Empress
beheaded
right now.
died. Divorce
But-
beheaded survived.
But either way, she was part of a pirate crew 40 years ago, and that's specifically mentioned in the manga. So, if not the Rocks Pirates, I have questions. Because this seems, it's always been, and like Marco mentioned that Whitebeard and Stussy would have met 40 years ago. So there's like a lot of, this period in time is a confluence of important events and important people. So I'm wondering if she's going to show up there too. At the same age, looking the same age.
This episode of the One Piece podcast is also a confluence of important people.
It's true.
So this is a very important question from Ken of Red Lions. Hey, OPP, I have a question for Jill.
Oh.
Did
Did you have a happy birthday?
Yeah.
Well, did you, first of all?
Yeah, it's good.
Great. Ken's question
We're gonna all
is,
sing at the end.
No.
did you get Roger to pay up on the Toki bet? And if so, which figure did you get?
Okay, so not yet, but not because of Roger's fault. He did buy me a figure, and it was going to be that Robin one where she's wearing her original outfit when we met her. I can't remember the name of it, but it's a more recent figure. But
The Miss All Sunday
they never
thing?
sent it. They never sent the figure. So eventually we just bugged them enough, and Roger got a refund. And since then, I have actually been too busy to look up and see what I want. But it is still waiting, and I'll pick something hopefully soon. But yes, Roger knows that he owes me that.
Okay, good.
I love how this is a very public bet.
Yeah.
Great.
I was on the wrong side of history on that one, apparently.
Thank you for the update.
Oda
Yeah.
would never unkill a mom. You guys were crazy.
You know what? That'll be. I think Steven, maybe you mentioned in the SGS, but or maybe it was mentioned on the last manga recap, but the idea that Ginny survives this would be a bigger surprise. And so I'm kind of hoping that we get that, and the fact that she's also a wiretapper and a kind of covert kind of, we haven't had that kind of character too much. I mean, yes, we have Nami and Sanji a little bit, but we haven't had someone who that was their particular expertise at the center of the story. So I think that would be an interesting thing to see in the Revolutionaries or somewhere else in the world. I feel like that would certainly be more surprising, and I know Oda always tends to aim for the more surprising. But as you said, Oda would never unkill a mom, so let's find out.
I think also Oda would be reluctant to have a 51-year-old woman appear in One Piece. There's Big Mom.
Maybe she doesn't age either, There's a bunch of those. or
We've already
clone.
slimmed down Shinobu, so Oda clearly doesn't care. He can always make them hotter again if he wants to.
That's true.
God willing.
All right, so Sheepman says, howdy OPP. This was a grand chapter for me. It's interesting imagining the alternate timeline where the fruits get swapped, so Kaido gets the paw and Kuma gets the dragon. Additionally, I enjoy how much of an impact Ginny has had already in the flashback, with being the one who sent the message out about what's going on at God Valley, and that's why Roger and Rock's crews show up there. Yeah, it's kind of neat seeing that, like, she's the catalyst for that.
Agreed.
Yeah, she's great.
I think the alternate version of the Wano arc, where Kaido has the paw fruit, he's like feeding all these, all the smile fruits to people. And whenever they screw up on one of his crew, he like pushes off like the screwed up animal part into a bubble. And so instead it becomes this nightmare country where there's just like bubbles that'll turn you into a horrible, like the head of a giraffe or whatever, or it'll give you like a lion that keeps punching you in the dick.
The Halloween special.
Yeah, it's just a nightmare country.
The Wano Halloween special, and that's what
I love it.
Yeah, we're pitching it. We're pitching it to Toei.
Felix Storm says, ahoy OPP. Ahoy hoy. Luffy gets captured a lot during the series. By my count, he's been put in some sort of confinement 8 times. Orangetown by Buggy, Arlong Park by Arlong, Drum Kingdom by Chopper, Alabasta by Crocodile, Amazon Lily by Gloriosa, Impel Down by Magellan, Punk Hazard by Caesar, Whole Cake Island by Big Mom, and Wano by Kaido. All 9 times he's managed to escape. I would count 10.
This doesn't even count him getting stuck in the
I was
the
thinking
snake.
and in the chimney, right? Or
Did
not
they
the
say-
chimney, but-
Could I say,
Between the
point
two
of order, in
buildings.
Arlong Park, Luffy is imprisoned by himself.
Yeah.
Dude,
his own
he's
bad
often.
decisions.
Yeah, the snake is the first thing that comes to my mind, and the chimney. Luffy, almost every arc, Luffy gets stuck in something.
And
what
he's going to get stuck in God Valley in Gear 5, as we learned
I
last
totally
time.
believe that's going to happen.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
so,
Even though God Valley doesn't exist anymore, so
Right.
there's
Yeah.
that problem. But we'll get there.
Gonna get stuck in full of lead's butt.
Oh, you
So-
see? That I see.
Well, anyway, they continue. All 9 times, or more than that now, he's managed to escape. So the question is, will the Marines learn of a surefire way to keep him locked up if they ever manage to catch him?
Yeah, it's called Sea Stone, but they're just not good at using it.
Yeah, they're...
So does Sea Stone have as much efficacy if you are really good at hockey, though?
See, I don't know about that, because...
I don't think they've ever said anything about it.
No.
Marco...
I mean, it does
Marco
drain
got
your energy,
cuffed,
so-
right? During Marineford, right?
Yes, he did, and he couldn't use his power, but he was fine. Like, he was still doing things,
Yeah.
just nothing
So
important.
Could
can
ask
you use
Mario
hockey
Lemieux.
while you
You're
have...
good at hockey.
Jill,
Sea
you
Stone.
first.
Oh, I was saying, like, pretty much, can you use hockey while you have Sea Stone on you, or does it, like, drain enough energy that you can't? Or is it something
That's
that
the
can be, like,
question.
overpowered with your will?
It's
Abby?
got to be an endurance thing, right?
Abby, what were you
Probably.
going to say?
Oh, I was just saying we should ask Mario Lemieux. He's really good at hockey.
Okay, I'm glad I asked.
Oh,
I'm
but
from
wait.
Pittsburgh.
I think we
Oh,
already
the
have the answer
Pirates.
to that. And nice.
The Penguins, you fool!
Yeah, the Pirates are.
No, a baseball. Yeah, no, I'm just making a joke.
So, yeah, well, in Udon, right? Kid and
Yeah.
Luffy both had Sea Stone cuffs on, but they were moving around and fighting and shit. So I feel like it depends on your endurance at that point.
Yes.
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure they'll figure out a way to lock him up, but
Oh, speaking of,
he's also the main character. So
remember when Wano was the home for Sea Stone? When did that come up again?
is this rhetorical?
Yeah, kind of. It hasn't. it's the rhetoric there, I guess. It's just kind of interesting how that got brought
Well,
up.
they haven't opened up Wano's borders yet. We're not done with it.
Yeah.
Pluton comes out as just carrying a bunch of sea stone for export.
Made out of sea stone.
Yeah,
Yep.
or it's made out of sea stone.
All right, we got one more disc piece. One last one from PR Minotaur. Hey, OPP, this great chapter made me think more on what the Buccaneers' possible crime could be. If they have the blood of giants, and if Joy Boy was a giant, could they possibly be his descendants? Or could more simply have been Joy Boy himself a Buccaneer? Or could more simply Joy Boy himself been a Buccaneer? Sorry. I know it's a lot of speculation on speculation, but what do you all think the Buccaneers' crime against the world government could have been?
The Da Vinci Code. It's going to be like, you actually have the blood of Joy Boy.
Yeah.
I mean, it could be just as simple as rising up against the world government.
Yeah.
Yeah, they don't like that.
Mm-hmm.
You're too inspirational.
Yeah.
Or like a previous royal, family that controlled a country or something.
Mm-hmm.
Who knows?
Blackbeard has a very Kuma-y body shape, and they're like, oh, he's got a weird, freaky body in Jaya. Yeah. So maybe it's just like everyone in the world government is like, these guys have really freaky bodies. We can't let that stand.
I found it really weird that last chapter, the Marines somehow found out about Kuma, because it seemed to me from what I was reading, it didn't look like the doctor did it on purpose. So, like, what was so apparent in the blood that, like, tipped them off? Like, what really, like, showed them it? Was it, like, a neighbor or something? But, like, why would you know, looking at them, be like, oh, that's Buccaneer?
Someone looked at his blood under a microscope, and there's just, like, a tiny Nika silhouette waving and making faces.
And then he pulls away from the microscope, and he, like, rubs his eyes and, like, takes his glasses and looks back in. Yeah.
You get back here!
Anyway, that's it for Disney.
Yeah.
Do we have any Reddit, Steven?
Reddit. Yes, we do. If you'd like to keep going, we have a couple questions on.
We could go. We could do a few
on the subreddit Archipelago at reddit.com/r/One Piece Podcast. Maximal says, hello, OPP. What a chapter. Being left hanging midway for the God Valley incident sucks, but this chapter made me realize that Kuma has been experiencing all the people's pains from the pawpaw fruit all the past years. I mean, all those bubbles must go somewhere, and as a kind Buccaneer, highly likely he took it himself. Got me even sadder. Oh, it can be so cruel sometimes. So
Actually,
there you
we're
go.
just
There's
assuming
one
they're
possible.
floating into the air for whoever randomly bumps into them.
That's a much better character read than we had.
Yeah. Amiibo Hunter 000 says, happy Halloween, OPP. In spirit of the spooky season, who are your favorite OP zombies? And not the Thriller Bark ones. I'm talking about characters that clearly should be dead, but are still walking around. Obvious example being Pell. Love the show. Can't wait to see what tricks and treats Oda brings us in the future.
Zoro.
All these freaks should be dead. Look at what they eat.
Sabo.
Pagaya. Pagaya.
Good one.
Yep.
Cool.
I don't know.
Eric the Whirlwind.
guy is
he
alive.
is dead.
Eric the Whirlwind. There you go. If he's not already. All right. None Easy says, hi, OPP. Please ignore if this has been pointed out already, but the little kids who bully Kuma seem to be the same boys who would later grow up to be members of Bonnie's pirate crew, where we see them in Sabaody when Bonnie is first introduced. Pretty cool continuity on Oda's part. Well, sorry, I did not ignore it because I did not read your question before I started reading it. Electric Dynamite says, hey, OPP, did you catch all those cameos? Kong, Strusen, Granny Nyan, Bogard, some background characters of the Rocks Pirates who look vaguely similar to the zombie generals in Thriller Bark when we first saw Captain John. Not to mention those two kids at the Kuma helped at the end. They looked very similar to the pirates and Bonnie's crew on Sabaody. Yes, we noticed them all.
That means we win, right? What do we win?
Yes.
Do we get something from Roger? Do we get a figure?
Another beer.
You'll have to take it up with him.
Victor Eats Food says, hello, OPP. What are some ways you are preparing yourself for next week's chapter? I'm stocking up comfort foods and tissues.
I still think we're a couple like maybe 2 chapters away from like the really heartbreaking stuff, but maybe I'm wrong. It's been going fast, so I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. I would think maybe like 1 or 2 buffer chapters, but like we had like 3 buffer pages, and I think that honestly might be it with the pace we're going.
Yeah, I mean, death can happen really quick in One Piece. We were watching the episode of the live action series when they do Usopp's backstory, and You know, he walks up to his wife. He's like, Mom, you know, the pirates are coming. And she's like, that's nice, honey. Blah! And she just dies in 2 seconds. And we both cracked up immediately.
It's like a minute long.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah,
They prolonged a lot of scenes in the live action, but they couldn't prolong that one.
No.
Blah.
Last one on Reddit is from Prince of Assassins, who says, this is a question for Vero, or specifically anyone who's played Baldur's Gate 3. Which companion would each Straw Hat like the most? Okay, has anyone here played Baldur's Gate?
This is a question for Vero.
Yes, it is.
I think it'd be fun if we all went around like, has anybody seen that movie Tron? No.
Yes. I mean, no.
Yeah.
Who's the purple guy with the hamster?
Never mind.
I think Luffy
Damn, I
and
should play
Grimace
Baldur's
would
Gate
probably...
3.
Well, no, they wouldn't get along well.
The one
Okay.
they put in all the Baldur's Gate, like from the 1 and 2, the purple, he's got like a purple head, and he thinks his hamster is a space hamster, and everyone's like, oh, isn't that funny? I think his hamster is called Boo, but what's the name of the guy? Like, he's a popular D&D lore guy.
Drizzt
Everyone loves that guy.
Grimace?
The answer is always Grimace. That'll do it. Why don't we round off into a little bit of trivia?
Oh, dear.
This has been the One Piece Podcast, episode 793 for October 30th, 2023. Our very spooky Halloween edition. Abby, I don't know if you have some sound effects for that or something. Thank you. I knew I could count on you and the Three Stooges for that. Great episode. Thank you all for coming on this week. We have some great guests coming up in the next few weeks. Next week, Daniel Green, YouTuber and more. And I think, hopefully, we will have Henry Thurlow on next week as well, since he worked on, I think it's 1081 we're up to. We also have Kaiser Neko from Team 4-Star, also known as Scott. He'll be on the following week. And then the week after that, we're scheduled to have the Josh Vero Brodsky combo hitting us on the 19th or on the 20th. So check all of that out. If you haven't, please subscribe to us on Patreon at patreon.com/OnePiecePodcast. And also a huge thanks to Mike Padden for drawing this week's art. You can follow.
Thank you, Mike.
Thank you, Mike.
You're welcome.
Where can people follow you? Or I'll just...
No, I'm here. Hi.
Not here anymore.
Mike Patton, everybody.
Oh no! Did I cut out?
Yeah, go.
My
What's
damn
your
thumb hit
handle?
my microphone. Yeah, Instagram.
Mike's avatar while we're recording this is Donkey Kong giving a thumbs up, sort of blankly staring into space.
That's my most pure form. No, find me on Instagram at Patton_pending. I do a lot of art there. I do the cover art for Domance Dawn, and I post all those there, so you can see those. And my actual art, professional art. I don't know what I'm saying. I've been drawing all night. I'll see you guys.
Thank you. Abby, where can people find you?
I'm on Twitter and Blue Sky. I don't really trust any form of social media, but those are the main places you can find me. Of Abby Denton. I managed to actually get the Abby Denton domain name on Blue Sky.
Nice.
I guess abbydenton.podbean.com if you want to listen to my audio sitcom, which I haven't updated in a while, but it's pretty good. And yeah, right now that's pretty much the main places you can find things that I've made.
Awesome. Who else do we have? Jill.
You can find me on Twitter and most other social media at Piratess on Luck. I also co-host along with Sam Leach our podcast Reel It In, where we go over live action adaptations of anime and manga. We just finally, we've been on a hiatus, but we just recorded our episode where we go over the Bleach movie and the 3 full live-action Full Metal Alchemist movies.
Oh, Jesus.
Wow.
I hope you
I
split
didn't know
that
there
up.
was 3 before I started those. Yeah.
I tapped out after the first one, so good on y'all.
Yeah, so that was just recorded. It should be out pretty soon. And then after that, we are going to be going over the Cowboy Bebop series,
Oh, Jesus
Nice.
Christ.
which I have not watched yet.
I have also not watched it, and I
Is
also
it even
don't
on
plan
Netflix
it.
still?
You think they just deleted it like Void Century? Goodbye.
Yeah.
I think it is. I don't want to get into that though. Steven, where could people find you?
You can find me on I almost said Bandcamp. No, Blue Sky, where I am at Stephen Paul. Yeah, you can check me out there. That's where I post now.
Alex, where could people find you?
Find me on Twitter or X. It's Twitter. It's called Twitter.
No, it's called Twitter.
Yeah. At Dude Exclamation. Follow Weeb Simpsons on there as well. And I'm also on Blue Sky. Same handle. You'll find me. I'm there.
Cool. I'll look for you. Ed, where could the good people find us?
Well, you are Zach_Logan on Twitter. You're also Zach Logan on Blue Sky. I'm Edward E on Blue Sky.
I'm
podcast
Zach
can be...
One Piece Podcast on Blue Sky. Sorry.
Oh, there you go.
Go ahead.
And the podcast can be found at the new and improved OnePiecePodcast.com. Also, BigPunchies.com. You have that domain again, right?
Yep, we still
Okay.
have it, and
Good.
now it leads to a clip of Luffy punching Kaido. So there you go.
So yeah, the podcast is still on Twitter and Instagram at One Piece Podcast. OnePiecePodcast@gmail.com is our email address. Please support us, patreon.com/One Piece Podcast. Listen to Steve and Tara on the 4Kids Flashback. And let's see, you can subscribe on SoundCloud, Spotify, iHeartRadio. Subscribe, rate, and review on Apple Podcasts, or call us on our phone number, Zach.
And that phone number is 347-497-MAGI.
Maji.
That phone number again, 347-497-6254. Call anytime.
Anytime.
With your questions, comments, theories, or your thoughts on Old Man Prometheus. So before we go, so first of all, I haven't done a lot of trivia this year. So I apologize.
We're all
for
recovering.
those. So today, I'm gonna do it's gonna be a quick one. We're going to do the Vivre Rush game, which, for those who don't know, is the officially licensed version stolen from me of my game. I am going to say some facts that I could read. They are all in Japanese, but they're numbers, so I can mostly garner what is being said there. Hopefully. And we'll take it from there. And the catch for this one is that all of these characters appeared in this chapter. So that's the key. Exactly. But there's not a lot of Vivre cards, actually. So whoever gets, there's only 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. There's only 8. So whoever gets the most points. We'll go in order. So Ed, Abby, Steven, Alex, and Jill. That's the order we did the recap. Okay, Ed, you're first.
Okay.
666 centimeters. And wow, I never noticed that. That's pretty crazy. Most currently 72 years old.
Edward Newgate.
Correct. See? Easy.
I mean, 666 centimeters.
Also, is he
Isn't
really
it? Yeah.
currently 72 years old?
I said most recently.
Oh, okay, okay.
He's permanently 72 years old.
Yeah. Isn't he
That
also
was
just
fun.
as far as height goes? Isn't he 6 feet under?
Abby, this one's 710 centimeters, and most recently 59 years old.
710 centimeters would be a Kaido?
Correct.
Yeah.
Everyone's
Yes!
doing very well at this game.
He's very big.
Yeah.
I guess his dragon form would be like 9 1,000 centimeters.
Steven.
Yes.
This character is 274 centimeters and most recently 53 years old.
You have to give me the
short guy.
Yeah, the human one.
Horizon.
What was the age again?
Most recently 53.
Oh,
is that Roger?
That is Roger.
Yes.
Alex.
Human height, 9 feet tall.
Yeah.
The centimeters are more to compare to others, so you know if they're taller, if you've been paying attention. This one, 188 centimeters and most recently 78 years old.
So, shorter than Roger, way older than Roger. Let's see. Is it Gloriosa?
Mm-mm. Jill, do you want to try?
I don't know how short that is.
I'm not going to do jump ball. I'll just go to the next person. Jill?
Can you repeat the facts?
188 centimeters and most recently 78 years old.
Just the facts, ma'am.
Stussy?
Mm-mm. Ed?
Really?
Correct.
Really short as fuck.
Yeah.
I guess. Oh.
Trying to think of who would be that old and also that short.
By the way, I hate this centimeters bullshit. Like, this...
I'm just Googling feet.
I can't translate. You could Google it. That you could look up.
200 centimeters is like 6'6".
Okay.
No,
really?
188 is 6.16 feet.
Jesus.
Okay.
Okay.
That means Steviechi is 200 centimeters almost.
I do like the idea of someone who's 6'1" says I'm 6.16 feet because it sounds slightly more. I guess that's 6'2".
Like, this is the most useless part of the trivia to me because it's like, oh, you're gonna do it all in centimeters. Well, I have no fucking clue.
No. So as I said, it's so you could compare them, and also everyone was in this chapter, so you know.
Yeah.
I mean, if I just gave you these out of the blue, that's useless. You're correct.
Also, by the way, like, Gloriosa is like way shorter now than she
I'll-
ever was.
Yeah, I was
yeah,
like, what
I
does that count?
I'll say Gloriosa also does not have one of these cards. So don't look out for that one.
Say it just hit me how bleak, like the One Piece world using both English lettering scripts and the metric system is in terms of like the hegemony of the West.
Don't think about it.
What are the celestial dragons but honkies?
They're Brits.
We've been saying this. Next one, Abby.
Yes.
This one is 689 centimeters and 47 years old, most recently.
687 years old. Would that be Big Mom?
No. Steven.
Oh.
That would be Kuma.
That is Kuma. Alex. This one's for you. 449 centimeters and most recently 53 years old.
53.
So we know shorter than Whitebeard, shorter than Kuma, taller than
Taller than Roger.
Taller than Roger, shorter than Kuma. 53, you said?
The most recent age is 53, yes.
Ivankov.
Correct.
Ooh,
You're on the board. Jill. 287 centimeters and most recently 78 years old.
Okay, so it's like 9 feet.
No, I think that's 6 foot something. Or 7, 8? I don't know.
How many did you say?
287?
It's like
Yeah, that's
Yeah,
like
it's like
9 feet
8.5.
tall.
Is it?
Yeah.
Sorry, my math is not a thing.
Let's see here.
I guess it'd be closer to 9, yeah.
I have only one more after this, so which is
Garp?
going to be the tiebreaker. Yes.
Mm-hmm.
He's taller than I thought, but I guess that makes sense. The last one
He's
I
bigger
have,
than we thought.
and Garp is growing larger.
Yeah, what are Garp's 3 sizes? I think
The last one, Ed, if you get this, you win. 880 centimeters and most recently 68 years old.
That's huge. 880 centimeters and God. Who's even left in this chapter?
Well, that's also a good way to figure out the answer.
Yeah. Boy. Who's left? That giant guy? No, that's not really a giant though.
I'm gonna have to give you a countdown here. 30
Shiki.
seconds. No. Avi
Shiki was in this chapter.
Is it Danky Kane?
No. Steven.
Not.
Is it Big Mom?
Yes, Steven wins.
Yes.
I was surprised.
I cannot
that you
believe
didn't get
Steven.
that.
I can't believe Big Mom is so much larger than Whitebeard when in this chapter she does not look that much larger than Whitebeard.
It's because this is when she was really on her diet, on her binge diet. So
Yeah.
It is weird because she's all over the place. Anyway,
Can I offer a lightning round?
yeah, please, Abby.
In Luffy's song about how everyone's a bunch of idiots.
Yes.
Yeah.
What's the main thing he observes about the islands in the south?
They're
colder.
cold, so they're always
No.
no.
Islands in the south are warm.
Yeah.
Oh,
They grow a banana nana. They grow a melon or
I
something.
love that song.
It's perfect.
It is perfect. That'll do it for the One Piece podcast for this week. Next week, we're going to go through chapter 1097 with Daniel Green and probably a lot more. So we'll see you then, everyone. My name is Zach.
My name is Ed.
Oh, and my name is Alex.
Yeah, we'll see you next week, everyone. Goodbye.
Bye-bye.
bye.